Decide right now to stop giving tomorrow all your best chances and start changing today. This audiobook is a clear step-by-step guide built for people who want real results and who are done with wishful thinking. You will hear practical tools that you can use tomorrow morning and every morning after that. You will learn how to pick one clear goal and turn it into a daily action you will actually do. You will discover simple habit methods that take minutes but add up to major change. You will get a straight plan for designing your week so your priorities do not get eaten by busy work. You will learn how to lock in deep, focused work and balance it with real rest so your brain stays sharp and your energy lasts. You will be shown ways to measure progress each day and change course when something is not working. This audiobook will show how to remove common time wasters and set limits on social media so your attention stops getting stolen. You will get tools to protect your health through better sleep, smarter food choices, and steady movement so you have the energy to follow through. You will practice facing small weekly challenges that build toughness without breaking you. You will be guided through honest self-review and how to use feedback without taking it personally. You will learn how to create accountability with people who will push you and how to train your attention with short daily mindfulness and focused work sessions. You will find a way to master one skill at a time and how to free mental energy by automating routine decisions. You will see why tracking habits and celebrating small wins keeps you going and how testing new behaviors rewrites limiting beliefs. You will also get a plan for monthly learning, reducing unnecessary commitments, asking for help early, and scheduling days for rest, growth, and reflection. Every chapter is made to be practical and easy to apply. Expect short exercises, real examples, and clear instructions you can follow without extra equipment. You will hear real direction on what to do when you feel tired, discouraged, or overwhelmed. You will notice your thinking get clearer, your body feels steadier, and your days start to add up towards something real. Stay with this audiobook from start to finish, and you will have a complete toolkit for daily improvement. Put these steps into practice and the small changes you make every day will become the life you want to live. Chapter 1. Commit to a clear goal and act every morning. Every meaningful change in life begins with a decision, a choice so simple that it often feels too small to matter. Yet it is the foundation of every great achievement. That decision is to commit. To commit is to draw a line, to tell yourself that this is the direction you are going and that every day you will act in alignment with it. Most people drift because they never make that commitment. They wish, they hope, they imagine, but they do not choose. A goal becomes real the moment you commit to it with clarity and resolve. Without that, you wake each day unsure, unfocused, and easily swayed by circumstances. With it, you wake with a sense of purpose that shapes your choices from the moment your feet touch the floor. Committing to a clear goal is not about writing a vague statement on paper or repeating empty affirmations. It is about defining something so specific that you cannot misunderstand it. If your goal is health, it cannot remain as "I want to be healthier." That lacks force. A true commitment would be "I will walk for 30 minutes every morning at 7 a.m. That is concrete. You know exactly when, what, and how. Your mind responds to clarity, the body responds to precision. When the mind knows the path, it stops negotiating. Commitment strips away hesitation. Clarity alone is not enough. Many people have clear goals written down but still fail to act. What separates the few who grow from the many who stagnate is action, especially in the first hours of the day. Morning is when you set the tone for everything that follows. If you wake and drift into social media, television, or endless scrolling, you lose control before the day even begins. But if you wake and act toward your goal, you begin with momentum. That single action in the morning is not just a task. It is a statement of identity. It tells you who you are becoming. The discipline to act every morning builds a chain of consistency. You may not feel like it. You may wake tired, unmotivated, or discouraged. Yet improvement does not come from feelings. It comes from decisions repeated despite those feelings. Each morning is an opportunity to prove that you are stronger than excuses. When you push yourself to act even when you do not want to, you train resilience. That resilience spreads to every area of life. The way you do one thing shapes the way you do everything. A practical way to begin is to identify a single action that directly supports your goal and commit to doing it at the same time every morning. If your goal is fitness, it might be a workout or a walk. If your goal is writing, it might be drafting a page. If your goal is learning, it might be reading or studying for 30 minutes. Choose one action, tie it to the morning, and guard it with the same seriousness as showing up to work. Over time, this becomes part of your identity, something you no longer debate. The debate disappears because the decision has already been made. The mind resists change. It seeks comfort, routine, and ease. When you set a new goal, resistance rises in the form of doubt, procrastination, and excuses. The morning ritual of acting on your goal cuts through that resistance. The earlier you face the challenge, the less chance resistance has to grow. Delay is the enemy of progress. The longer you wait, the stronger excuses become. Action breaks excuses. That is why the morning is powerful. It gives you control before the day fills with distractions and demands. Commitment is not simply about achieving a specific outcome. It is about shaping character. When you commit to a clear goal and act every morning, you are building the qualities of discipline, focus, and self-respect. You prove to yourself that your word matters. Confidence grows when you keep promises to yourself. Every completed morning action strengthens your trust in your own reliability. Over time, this self-trust becomes unshakable, and you carry it into challenges far greater than you once believed possible. To put this into practice, begin by writing down your goal in precise terms. Be honest. Do not write what sounds impressive. Write what truly matters to you. Ask yourself why this goal is important. Without a compelling reason, discipline fades. Once you know your goal and your reason, define the morning action that moves you closer to it. Do not make it overwhelming. Start with something small enough to succeed at consistently, but meaningful enough to build momentum. Consistency beats intensity when you are building a foundation. Prepare for resistance by planning for it in advance. The night before, set out what you need. If you plan to exercise, lay out your clothes and shoes. If you plan to write, set up your workspace and tools. Preparation reduces friction. Friction is often the difference between action and avoidance. By making the start easy, you make excuses weaker. When the alarm rings, move without hesitation. Do not negotiate with your feelings. Action must come before thought in that moment. The more you think, the more likely you are to delay. Train yourself to move first, reflect later. Many people believe they need motivation before acting, but that belief is what keeps them stuck. Motivation follows action, not the other way around. When you force yourself to begin, even if you feel no drive, motivation awakens in the process. Energy comes from movement. Clarity comes from doing. The act itself generates the feeling, not the other way around. By committing to act each morning, you learn that you are not dependent on inspiration or mood. You create the energy you need by showing up. Over time, your morning actions compound. A single workout may not transform your health, but months of consistency will. A single page of writing may not create a book, but daily pages will. The compounding effect of small actions is invisible at first, but as weeks pass, results begin to show. This is why many quit too soon. They expect immediate reward. Improvement is not instant. It requires patience and persistence. The commitment to act every morning protects you from the impatience that derails most people. Another critical aspect of commitment is honesty with yourself. Many people avoid setting clear goals because clarity makes failure obvious. If you commit to writing 1 page every morning and fail, you cannot hide. But that honesty is what drives growth. It is better to fail honestly and adjust than to drift in vague hopes that never challenge you. Failure is feedback. When you miss, review why. Was the goal unrealistic? Did you fail to prepare? Did you give in to excuses? Each failure teaches if you are willing to learn. Commitment gives you data. Drifting gives you nothing. There will be mornings when life genuinely disrupts your plan. Illness, emergencies, responsibility beyond your control. Discipline is not perfection. It is persistence. On those days, do what you can, however small. Even a reduced action keeps the chain alive. If you miss entirely, recommit the next morning without self-pity. Improvement is not destroyed by one failure, but by the story you tell yourself afterward. Do not let a single setback become a pattern. The key is to return as quickly as possible. Think of the people you admire, those who embody strength, focus, and achievement. None of them became that way by accident. They committed to clear goals and acted with discipline daily. Their mornings were not wasted in hesitation. They understood that success is built in the unseen hours, in the quiet moments of consistent action. You have the same power. No one is excluded from discipline. It is not a gift. It is a choice. Every morning you are given that choice again. To deepen your commitment, visualize the person you want to become. Not in vague fantasy, but in specific terms. If your goal is health, picture yourself walking with energy, climbing stairs without struggle, living free from preventable illness. If your goal is career growth, imagine the confidence of mastering your craft, the respect earned from discipline. Hold that vision and remind yourself that each morning action is a step toward it. You may not arrive tomorrow, but every action makes you closer than yesterday. A powerful practice is to end each day by reviewing whether you acted on your goal in the morning. Reflection strengthens awareness. If you succeeded, acknowledge it. If you failed, ask why, and prepare better. Improvement is a cycle of action, reflection, and adjustment. By combining commitment with reflection, you ensure progress even through setbacks. This process transforms mornings from routine to ritual, from habit to identity. The most liberating truth about commitment is that it does not depend on talent, luck, or circumstances. Anyone can choose it. Life will always present challenges, but your decision to commit to a goal and act each morning is within your control. That control is where freedom begins. You cannot decide the length of your life, but you can decide the direction of your days. Each morning, when you rise and act, you are exercising that freedom. If you commit, the results will come. They may not come as fast as you wish, but they will come as surely as sunrise. Improvement is not a question of if, but when. Provided you remain consistent, you will feel stronger, clearer, and more in control. You will respect yourself more deeply because you know you can rely on your own word. That respect is priceless, for it shapes every choice you make. The path is simple but not easy. To commit to a clear goal and act every morning requires discipline, patience, and honesty. It demands that you face yourself without excuses. Yet the reward is profound. You become someone who does not drift, but directs. You live not by chance, but by choice. You prove that growth is not reserved for the few, but available to anyone willing to rise each morning and act. Every morning presents you with the same question: will you move closer to who you want to be, or will you remain as you are? The choice is always yours. Improvement is not something you wait for, it is something you create, step by step, action by action, morning by morning. The time to begin is now, and the way to begin is simple. Commit to a clear goal, and act on it every morning without fail. Chapter 2. Build small daily habits that lead to big results. Change begins not with giant leaps, but with the quiet, steady power of small actions repeated every single day. Most people believe they need dramatic transformation overnight, but the truth is that lasting growth comes from the simple habits you build into your routine. One push-up today may not change your body, one page read may not expand your mind, and one conversation may not rebuild your confidence, but when you repeat those small actions daily, they compound into powerful results that reshape your entire life. The mistake many make is chasing instant outcomes. They set overwhelming goals, attempt huge changes all at once, and quickly burn out. Improvement does not collapse under weight when it is approached gradually. By choosing a small action you can sustain, you create a foundation that grows stronger each day. Think of the energy you waste by starting strong, quitting early, and starting over again. Now imagine channeling that same energy into daily consistency, however small. Over time, the small but steady approach always wins. To build small habits that last, you must design them to be easy to start. If you want to exercise, begin with 5 minutes a day instead of an hour. If you want to improve your knowledge, read 2 pages a night instead of setting an impossible goal of finishing a book in one sitting. By lowering the barrier, you remove resistance. When something feels simple, your mind no longer fights it. And once you begin, momentum carries you forward. Those 5 minutes can naturally become 10. Those 2 pages can grow into 20, but it starts with the decision to begin small. Consistency matters more than intensity. Anyone can exercise hard for a week, anyone can eat healthy for a few days, and anyone can meditate once or twice when stress rises. But the person who commits to a short workout daily, the one who consistently chooses a better meal, the one who makes time for 10 minutes of mindfulness every morning, those are the people who create permanent change. Small daily habits do not rely on bursts of motivation. They are built into your identity, woven into the rhythm of your life. A key element is attaching a new habit to something you already do. If you want to stretch, do it right after brushing your teeth. If you want to practice gratitude, say it before you eat breakfast. By linking new behaviors to existing routines, you create a natural reminder. The habit becomes part of something you already remember, making it easier to sustain without effort. Over time, this link becomes automatic, and the habit requires little thought. Small habits shape not only what you do, but who you become. When you choose to act daily, you are training your identity. Each time you show up, even for a few minutes, you are telling yourself that this is who you are. You are someone who exercises, someone who learns, someone who reflects. These repeated actions carve out a stronger sense of self, and with identity comes commitment. It is no longer something you try to do, it becomes something you are. Many people underestimate the emotional impact of small habits. You may not notice a visible change right away, but what you will feel is pride and control. Each day you honor your habit, you strengthen the belief that you are capable of growth. That confidence spills into other areas of life. By keeping one promise to yourself, you build the strength to keep others. Small actions create momentum, and momentum creates belief. To ensure success, track your habits. Use a simple notebook or digital tool to mark each day you complete the action. Tracking creates visibility. What is measured improves, because you cannot ignore the reality in front of you. Even a simple check mark provides satisfaction and serves as proof of consistency. Over weeks and months, those marks tell a story. You are moving forward, you are building discipline, and you are staying committed. The beauty of small habits is that they are adaptable. Life will always change, circumstances will shift, and responsibilities will demand attention. A small habit can fit into almost any schedule. If you normally meditate for 10 minutes but only have 2 today, you can still do it. If you usually write a page but only have time for a paragraph, you can still keep the habit alive. Adaptation prevents perfectionism from destroying progress. You do not need perfect days to improve, you need persistent days. Another important element is celebrating progress. Too often, people dismiss their small efforts because they compare themselves to others who are further ahead. But comparison kills consistency. Instead of measuring against others, measure against yesterday. If you are a little better today than you were yesterday, you are improving. Celebrate each step. That celebration fuels motivation and keeps you connected to the journey, not just the destination. The results of small habits often come when you least expect them. One day, you realize you are stronger, sharper, calmer, or more disciplined, and it seems sudden. But it is not sudden, it is the quiet accumulation of daily actions that finally become visible. This delayed reward is why so many give up too early. If you understand that habits work in silence before showing results, you will be patient. Patience is the partner of consistency. Without it, habits cannot survive long enough to bear fruit. If you want to build a new life, start with the smallest step. Choose one habit that aligns with your larger goal and commit to practicing it daily. Do not overload yourself with 10 changes at once. Master one, make it automatic, and then add another. In a year, this approach could give you 12 powerful habits that shape every part of your life. 12 habits may not sound like much, but consider what happens when you exercise daily, read daily, save money daily, practice gratitude daily, reflect daily, and so on. That is transformation built step by step. It is important to remove friction for your habits. Prepare in advance so the action is easy to start. If you want to exercise, lay out your clothes the night before. If you want to read, place your book where you will see it. If you want to drink more water, keep a glass by your bed. The easier it is to start, the more likely you are to follow through. Discipline is strengthened when you make habits simple rather than complicated. Surround yourself with reminders of your goals. Write your habit where you can see it. Place a calendar on the wall or set a daily alarm. Reminders create consistency until the habit becomes automatic. In the beginning, your environment must work for you, not against you. Later, when the habit is part of who you are, you will no longer need reminders. The deeper lesson of building small daily habits is that improvement is not about waiting for the right time. It is not about huge acts of willpower or bursts of motivation. It is about deciding that today matters. Each day is a chance to move forward in small ways. These small ways accumulate into powerful change. When you look back after months of discipline, you realize that your life is different, not because of one grand moment, but because of the daily choices you refuse to ignore. Your future is not decided in years, it is decided in the habits you repeat each day. If you want better health, better relationships, better finances, or better peace of mind, start with one small action and repeat it until it becomes part of you. Do not underestimate its power. Small habits are the quiet architects of big results. They build the life you want, one step at a time, one choice at a time, one day at a time. Chapter 3. Design a weekly plan and follow it without fail. Success is never an accident. It is the direct result of structure, discipline, and the ability to take control of your time before it controls you. A person who drifts from one day to the next without a plan is always at the mercy of interruptions, distractions, and the demands of others. But a person who takes the time to design a weekly plan and follows it with consistency gains a sense of clarity that cannot be shaken. A weekly plan gives you the power to see beyond today, to organize your priorities, and to ensure that what matters most is never left to chance. Most people live reactively, waking up each morning with no clear sense of what they will achieve. They respond to emails, chase urgent tasks, and allow their energy to scatter across endless small demands. At the end of the week, they feel exhausted, yet realize they have made little progress toward their larger goals. This happens not because they lack ability, but because they lack structure. A weekly plan changes everything. It shifts you from reacting to leading, from drifting to directing. The key to an effective weekly plan is simplicity. It is not about filling every minute with rigid tasks. It is about identifying your priorities and ensuring they are protected with time blocks that cannot be stolen. Start by setting aside time at the end of each week, perhaps Sunday evening, to plan for the next 7 days. Review what you accomplished, reflect on what was left undone, and clarify what must be your focus in the coming week. This act of reflection alone places you ahead of most people who live without review or intention. A weekly plan works best when you break it into categories. Personal growth, health, relationships, work, and rest all need their place. If you focus only on work, you burn out. If you focus only on health, your career suffers. Balance is not achieved by chance. It is designed. Decide in advance how you will spend your energy. Allocate time for exercise, time for learning, time for focused work, and time for family. By protecting these areas with scheduled blocks, you prevent them from being pushed aside by less important demands. Once you identify your priorities, assign specific times to them. A vague plan is a weak plan. I will exercise this week is not enough. I will exercise Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 a.m. is specific, and specificity creates accountability. Apply this clarity to each priority. If you want to write, schedule it. If you want to learn, schedule it. If you want to rest, schedule it. A weekly plan is not only about doing more, it is about ensuring the right things are done at the right times. One of the most powerful aspects of a weekly plan is the ability to anticipate challenges. Life will always throw interruptions and unexpected demands at you, but when you have a plan, you can adjust without losing direction. If a meeting shifts or an appointment is cancelled, you already know your priorities and can move tasks around without abandoning them. Without a plan, these interruptions consume your entire day, and your goals are forgotten. With a plan, you bend, but you do not break. A weekly plan also reduces decision fatigue. Every day you are forced to make choices. What should I do now? What should I work on first? Without a plan, you spend energy deciding instead of acting. By designing your week in advance, you free your mind from constant negotiation. The plan has already been made, and your job is simply to follow it. This clarity saves energy and increases focus, allowing you to pour your effort into execution rather than indecision. It is important to keep your weekly plan realistic. Many people fail because they try to pack too much into their schedule. Overcommitment leads to frustration and burnout. A strong plan leaves space for flexibility, for rest, and for unexpected events. Aim to plan the big rocks first, the tasks and activities that matter most, then allow smaller tasks to fit around them. This ensures that even if the week becomes busy, the most important priorities are never sacrificed. Following a weekly plan requires discipline, and discipline grows when you make your plan visible. Write it down, keep it on your desk, place it in your calendar, or post it where you can see it. Each morning, review your schedule and remind yourself of the commitments you made. Visibility strengthens commitment, and commitment strengthens follow-through. The more you honor your plan, the more natural it becomes to live with structure. Another key to success is reviewing your progress throughout the week. A plan is not meant to be rigid, it is meant to be a guide. At the end of each day, take 5 minutes to review what you completed and adjust if necessary. If you missed a task, reschedule it. If you finished early, bring forward something from later in the week. This small act of daily adjustment keeps your plan alive and relevant. Without review, a plan becomes a forgotten list. With review, it becomes a living system that adapts and supports you. A weekly plan also teaches you to respect your time. When you schedule your priorities, you realize how limited your hours are and how important it is not to waste them. You begin to say no to distractions, no to unnecessary commitments, and no to people who drain your energy. Time is the most valuable resource you have, and a weekly plan ensures it is invested wisely rather than squandered carelessly. There is also a deep psychological benefit to having a weekly plan. It reduces anxiety and stress. Much of the stress people feel comes from not knowing what to do next or worrying about what they might forget. When everything is written down and scheduled, your mind is free to focus on the task at hand. You no longer carry the weight of uncertainty. Instead, you move with confidence, knowing that each day has already been designed with intention. To make your weekly planning even more effective, build rituals around it. Set a consistent time each week, prepare a quiet space, and review your progress with honesty. Over time, this ritual becomes something you look forward to, a moment of clarity where you take control of your life again. The more consistent you are with planning, the more natural it becomes, until it is no longer a task, but simply part of how you live. Following your plan requires more than writing it down. It requires honoring it. The temptation will always be there to ignore your schedule, to push tasks to tomorrow, to skip commitments when you feel tired. This is where discipline and self-respect are tested. When you honor your plan, you prove to yourself that your word matters. Each time you follow through, you strengthen your trust in yourself. Over weeks and months, this trust becomes unshakable, and you realize that you can rely on your own discipline to create the life you want. The rewards of living by a weekly plan are profound. You achieve more, but more importantly, you achieve what actually matters. You feel less overwhelmed because each day has a purpose. You waste less time because your schedule reflects your true priorities. You experience more balance because you deliberately protect time for growth, health, and relationships. Over time, you build a life not by accident, but by design, 1 week at a time. What separates those who improve from those who remain stuck is not talent, luck, or opportunity, but the willingness to live with structure. By designing a weekly plan and following it without fail, you create a system that keeps you aligned with your goals, no matter what distractions or challenges appear. You do not leave your progress to chance. You take control of it. Each week becomes a building block, and as the weeks stack together, they form the foundation of your future. The truth is simple. If you want to grow, if you want to succeed, if you want to change your life, you cannot afford to drift. You must plan, you must commit, you must follow through. A weekly plan is the tool that allows you to do all three. It is the structure that turns intention into reality, the discipline that transforms dreams into achievements, and the system that ensures you do not waste the precious time you have been given. Your life will always move in the direction of your plans, and the best time to begin designing with intention is now. Chapter 4. Practice focused work for set periods and rest. Greatness is built by those who learn to control their attention and give their best effort in the hours that matter most. If you want to force yourself to improve, you must stop scattering your energy across countless distractions and instead practice focused work for set periods, followed by intentional rest. This principle is one of the most powerful tools for self-improvement because it teaches you discipline, efficiency, and balance all at once. You cannot expect breakthroughs if your mind is always half present. You cannot produce meaningful results if you are constantly switching between tasks. Focused work is about setting a clear boundary for when you give your undivided attention to something and when you allow yourself to recharge. The first step in practicing focused work is to decide what deserves your attention. Many people lose hours every day on low-value activities, answering messages, scrolling, or reacting to small tasks that do not move their life forward. Improvement requires the courage to identify the work that truly matters and to give it the best of your energy. Before you begin a focused session, choose one task and define it clearly. Write it down, speak it out, or mentally commit to it, but make sure your mind understands exactly what it is about to work on. Clarity removes hesitation, and when hesitation is gone, your energy flows directly into the work. Once you have identified the task, set a specific block of time. The human brain works best when it knows there is a beginning and an end. Without a limit, your focus drifts, and you feel less urgency. That is why working in set periods is so powerful. You can start with something simple like 25 minutes of undisturbed focus followed by a 5-minute rest. As you build mental endurance, extend it to 45 minutes, an hour, or even longer. The exact length matters less than the commitment to staying fully engaged for that period. The rule is simple. During that time, nothing else exists except the task you committed to. When you are in a focused work session, remove every source of distraction. Turn off notifications, silence your phone, close unnecessary tabs, and create a clean environment where your attention is free to flow. Your mind cannot reach its full power if it is constantly pulled in different directions. Each distraction costs you energy and breaks the rhythm of deep concentration. Think of focus as a muscle that becomes stronger with use. The more you protect your work sessions, the longer and sharper your focus becomes over time. The second half of this principle is just as important. Rest. Many people underestimate how vital recovery is to sustained improvement. Rest is not laziness. Rest is fuel. After a focused work period, your brain needs time to process, recharge, and prepare for the next effort. Skipping rest leads mental fatigue, poor judgment, and lower quality output. Even short breaks can refresh your clarity and motivation. Step away from your desk, stretch, drink water, or take a short walk. When you come back, you will notice your energy feels renewed. This cycle of work and rest creates a rhythm that allows you to produce consistent progress without burning out. Focused work is not about working more hours, but about working better in the hours you choose. Imagine two people. One spends 10 hours multitasking, jumping from email to message to half-finished task, while the other spends 4 hours in laser focus with proper breaks. The second person will almost always achieve more, produce higher quality work, and feel less drained. Improvement comes not from being busy, but from being deeply effective in the time that matters. One of the most powerful benefits of practicing focused work is that it builds trust in yourself. Each time you sit down, commit to a set period, and follow through, you prove to yourself that you can do what you planned. This trust becomes motivation. Over time, you stop waiting for the right mood to work and instead rely on your system. You know that when the timer starts, your mind will align and your focus will follow. This inner confidence is the foundation of resilience and consistent growth. To make this practice a permanent part of your life, design your day around focus blocks. Start with the most important task of the day during your first block, when your energy is highest. Protect that time fiercely. Treat it like an unbreakable appointment. Then continue with other blocks as needed, always balancing effort with recovery. Some people thrive with 3 or 4 blocks in a day, while others find even 2 strong sessions can transform their productivity. The key is not how many, but how well you use them. Do not wait for motivation to start a focused session. Motivation is unreliable. Systems are reliable. Create the conditions, set the time, and begin. The act of starting builds momentum, and momentum sustains focus. Over time, your brain learns to enter a state of deep concentration more quickly, and you find yourself producing at a level you once thought impossible. This practice also strengthens your ability to handle distractions in life outside of work. The more you train your mind to stay on one thing without wandering, the more control you gain over your attention in daily situations. You become more present in conversations, more engaged in learning, and more aware of how you spend your hours. Focus is not just a tool for work, it is a tool for living with intention. Rest also extends beyond short breaks. To sustain continuous improvement, you must protect your sleep, your downtime, and your recovery routines. High achievers understand that rest is part of the work. A well-rested mind is sharper, more creative, and more resilient. Without proper rest, even the strongest focus sessions lose their power. Treat rest as a priority, not an afterthought. At first, practicing focused work with rest may feel unnatural. Your attention will wander, you will feel restless, and distractions will tempt you. That is normal. Improvement comes with practice. Start small, be consistent, and gradually build your capacity. Soon you will notice that what once felt impossible, working deeply on one thing without interruption, becomes second nature. The most important part is commitment. If you want to force yourself to improve, you cannot wait for perfect conditions or a sudden wave of discipline. You must create structure, protect your focus, and honor your rest. This cycle is what allows steady progress. Each focused session is a step forward. Each rest period is preparation for the next step. Together, they create a rhythm of growth that compounds day after day. If you truly want results, commit to living with focus. Practice it daily, refine it weekly, and protect it fiercely. Improvement is not about doing everything at once, but about doing the right things with full attention and balanced energy. When you practice focused work for set periods and rest, you take control of your mind, your time, and your future. That is how you force yourself to improve and build a life of discipline, clarity, and lasting achievement. Chapter 5. Measure progress each day and adjust your approach. Improvement becomes real when you stop guessing and start measuring your progress every single day. If you want to grow, you cannot rely on vague feelings or hope that you are getting better. You need evidence, and that evidence comes from tracking your actions and outcomes in a clear and simple way. Measuring progress is what keeps you honest. It shows you where you are excelling, and it exposes the areas where you must adjust. Without measurement, days blur together, and it is easy to believe you are doing more than you actually are. With measurement, you gain clarity, accountability, and momentum. The first reason daily measurement matters is because it forces awareness. Many people overestimate what they do in a day, yet underestimate what they can do in a month or a year. Writing down your actions at the end of the day, or even throughout the day, gives you an exact picture of where your time and energy went. This awareness alone can change your behavior, because when you see the truth in front of you, you can no longer pretend. For example, if you are trying to build a fitness habit, writing down each workout shows whether you showed up or made excuses. If you are trying to learn a new skill, tracking your practice hours reveals whether you truly committed. Awareness ends self-deception and gives you a clear baseline. The second reason measurement works is because it builds consistency. When you commit to recording your progress daily, you create a habit of accountability. Even if the step you took that day was small, it gets recorded, and the act of recording itself reinforces the importance of showing up. Over time, this consistency strengthens your self-discipline. You no longer need to wonder whether you are improving, because your record proves it. That record becomes a source of motivation when you feel stuck. Looking back on weeks of steady action reminds you that you are capable and moving forward, even on days when it feels slow. But measurement alone is not enough. Improvement requires adjustment. If you see that your actions are not producing the results you want, you must be willing to change your approach. Many people make the mistake of repeating the same method even when it does not work, hoping that persistence alone will bring success. Persistence matters, but persistence without adjustment is wasted effort. Measuring your progress allows you to spot patterns, identify what is effective, and eliminate what is not. For example, if you are studying and notice that one technique helps you remember more while another wastes time, you can adjust your method and multiply your results. The courage to change when needed is what separates steady improvement from stagnation. Daily measurement should be simple, not complicated. You do not need elaborate systems or fancy tools. A notebook, a calendar, or a simple app can serve the purpose. What matters is that you record something measurable, not just feelings. Instead of writing, "I felt productive," record, "I wrote for 45 minutes," or "I made 5 client calls." Numbers, actions, and specific details matter because they cannot be distorted. Feelings are important, but they come after the facts. Focus first on what you actually did. Adjusting your approach requires honest reflection. At the end of each day, ask yourself 3 questions. What did I do well? What held me back? What will I do differently tomorrow? These questions keep you moving forward because they combine recognition with correction. Improvement is not about punishing yourself for mistakes, but about learning from them. Each day becomes a chance to refine your process, and over weeks and months, those refinements compound into major growth. One of the greatest benefits of daily measurement is that it shrinks improvement into manageable steps. When you measure progress, you realize you do not need to transform everything at once. You just need to take the next step today and track it. This makes big goals less overwhelming and gives you a path to follow. Over time, the daily entries in your record create a powerful story of growth. You can look back not only at what you achieved, but at how you achieved it, and that story becomes proof of your discipline and resilience. Another advantage of measuring progress is that it keeps you focused on reality instead of comparison. Too often, people measure themselves against others and feel discouraged or overconfident. When you track your own progress, the only comparison that matters is you versus yesterday. Did you improve today? Did you follow through? Did you move closer to your goal? That is the measurement that matters, and it keeps you grounded in your own path instead of distracted by others. There will be days when your measurement reveals that you fell short. You will see gaps, missed actions, or weak effort. Do not view these as failures, but as information. Those gaps show you where to improve. They highlight obstacles you must overcome. Without measurement, those weak points stay hidden, and you keep repeating them. With measurement, you shine a light on them and gain the power to change. Every setback becomes a lesson when it is tracked and reviewed. Adjusting your approach also means knowing when to raise your standards. If your progress is steady, challenge yourself to aim higher. If you have been walking for 20 minutes, increase it to 30. If you have been writing 1 page, aim for 2. Improvement thrives on challenge, and measurement shows you exactly when you are ready to push further. Do not settle for staying comfortable once you have built consistency. Use your progress record to raise the bar gradually so your growth never stops. Daily measurement can also build confidence because it gives you evidence of effort. Many people doubt themselves because they forget what they have already achieved. A written or recorded log erases that doubt. When you feel like giving up, review your progress and remind yourself of the work you have already invested. That reminder can reignite your motivation and keep you moving forward. Confidence is not built from empty words, but from evidence of consistent action, and measurement provides that evidence. To make this practice sustainable, tie it to a routine you already do every day. For example, record your progress right before going to bed or right after your morning routine. Linking it to an existing habit makes it harder to forget. Over time, measuring and adjusting will become as natural as brushing your teeth. It will be part of who you are, not just something you do occasionally. Some days you will see big progress, and other days you will see only small steps. Both matter. The purpose of measuring daily is not to demand perfection, but to maintain movement. Progress is not about never missing, but about never quitting. When you adjust your approach daily, you stay in motion, you stay aligned with your goals. You prevent weeks from slipping away unnoticed. Every day becomes a building block in the structure of your improvement. If you want to force yourself to improve, you cannot ignore this principle. Improvement is not random, it is tracked, measured, and adjusted. Treat each day as an opportunity to gather data about your life. Record it honestly, reflect on it carefully, and adjust it wisely. When you do this, day after day, you transform guesswork into strategy and strategy into progress. The people who achieve lasting success are not the ones who hope things will change, but the ones who measure what matters and act on what they learn. So begin today. Decide what you will measure. Commit to tracking it daily. Review it each evening. Adjust your actions tomorrow based on what you see. Keep repeating this cycle until it becomes second nature. This simple but powerful process will guide you step by step, making sure you never drift too far off course. Improvement becomes inevitable when you measure progress each day and adjust your approach with discipline and honesty. Chapter 6. Eliminate distractions that steal time and reduce focus. The fastest way to reclaim control of your life is to eliminate distractions that steal your time and drain your focus. Every person has the same 24 hours in a day. Yet what separates those who move forward from those who stay stuck is not just effort, but the ability to protect their attention. Distractions are everywhere, and they may look harmless at first, but they multiply and slowly destroy your capacity to concentrate. If you want to achieve meaningful progress, you must treat your focus as a valuable resource and defend it with discipline. Distractions do not only appear as obvious interruptions like phone notifications or television. They also exist in subtle forms, such as overthinking, procrastination, or wasting energy on unimportant tasks. When your mind is constantly pulled in different directions, you cannot give full attention to what truly matters. Success in any area of life requires deep, uninterrupted effort, and that only becomes possible when you identify what pulls you away and cut it out. The first step is awareness. Pay attention to how your day unfolds and notice where your focus goes. If you check your phone every few minutes, if you wander online without purpose, or if you say yes to commitments that do not align with your priorities, you are allowing distractions to control you. Awareness gives you the power to make changes. Once you identify the distractions, the next step is to create barriers. Do not rely on willpower alone, because willpower weakens when temptation is always present. Instead, design your environment to protect your focus. If your phone is the biggest distraction, place it in another room when you are working. If social media steals your hours, set strict limits or remove the apps altogether. If certain people constantly interrupt you, set boundaries and communicate clearly when you are unavailable. These barriers are not extreme. They are necessary if you want to guard your time. Without them, you will continue to lose hours each day without even realizing it. Another key to eliminating distractions is to clarify your priorities. When you are not clear about what matters, everything feels urgent. You become reactive instead of proactive, jumping from one thing to another without purpose. Write down the 3 most important tasks you must accomplish each day and focus on finishing them before anything else. When your mind knows exactly what matters, it becomes easier to ignore the noise. Distractions lose their power when you are deeply committed to what you need to do. It is also important to address internal distractions. Many people are held back not only by external interruptions, but by their own thoughts. Worrying about the future, replaying the past, or doubting your ability all steal focus from the present. To eliminate these mental distractions, train your mind to return to the task at hand. Simple practices like deep breathing or pausing for a moment of silence can reset your focus. Writing down intrusive thoughts and returning to them later can also help. The key is not to let your mind spiral into endless loops. Each time you bring your attention back to the present task, you strengthen your ability to concentrate. Energy management plays a big role in handling distractions. When you are tired or drained, you are more likely to give in to interruptions. Rest, nutrition, and exercise are not just for health. They directly affect your ability to focus. A clear, energized mind is less vulnerable to distraction. Plan your most important work during the hours of the day when you feel most alert. Use breaks wisely to recharge instead of slipping into habits that scatter your attention. Protecting your energy is just as important as protecting your time. Another strategy is to practice single tasking. Modern culture promotes multitasking, but multitasking is a trap. Switching between tasks reduces efficiency and weakens your attention span. Train yourself to focus on one thing at a time. Give your full effort until it is done, and then move to the next. This simple discipline eliminates the distraction of constant switching and allows you to produce better results in less time. Sometimes distractions come disguised as opportunities. You may be invited to events, asked for favors, or offered side projects that seem appealing but pull you away from your real priorities. Learning to say no is one of the most powerful ways to eliminate distractions. Every yes you give to something unimportant is a no to something meaningful. Protect your time by being selective. Evaluate whether each new request moves you closer to your goals or pulls you away. Saying no may feel uncomfortable at first, but it is a skill that preserves your focus for what truly matters. Technology can be both a tool and a trap. While it enables growth, it also creates endless opportunities for distraction. The key is to control technology instead of letting it control you. Turn off unnecessary notifications, set time limits for apps, and use tools that block distracting websites when you need to concentrate. Technology should serve your goals, not sabotage them. By setting these controls, you take back command of your attention. Eliminating distractions also requires building discipline through routine. When you have a consistent schedule, your mind learns to focus at specific times. Structure your day so that work, rest, and leisure each have their place. This routine reduces decision fatigue and prevents your mind from wandering into distractions. When your time has a clear purpose, distractions struggle to find a way in. One powerful approach is to ask yourself each day, does this action bring me closer to my goal or further away? This question cuts through the noise and forces you to evaluate what deserves your time. If the answer is that it pulls you away, eliminate it without hesitation. Life becomes simpler and more focused when you consistently choose alignment over distraction. Over time, as you cut away what does not matter, you will notice that your focus strengthens. Tasks that once took hours can be done in half the time. You feel more present, more productive, and more in control. The quality of your work improves because your full attention is invested in it. The prescience that comes from deep focus is far greater than the fleeting stimulation of distractions. It is also worth remembering that eliminating distractions is not about creating a rigid or joyless life. It is about freeing yourself to fully experience what you choose to focus on. Whether it is work, family, or personal growth, being fully present makes those experiences richer. You gain more by focusing deeply on fewer things than by scattering yourself across many. The journey of removing distractions will not be perfect. You will still be tempted, and some days you may slip. The key is to recognize it quickly and return to focus. Improvement is not about never being distracted. It is about reducing their power over you. Each step you take to cut distractions makes your attention stronger and your life more intentional. At the end of the day, your life is shaped by what you consistently give your focus to. If you allow distractions to dominate, you lose time that can never be recovered. But if you deliberately eliminate what steals your attention and protect your focus, you unlock a level of productivity and clarity that changes everything. Success in any pursuit is not about doing more, it is about focusing on what matters most without interruption. And that begins by eliminating distractions that steal your time and reduce your focus. Chapter 7. Prioritize health with sleep, nutrition, and regular exercise. True improvement begins with the foundation of your health, because no amount of ambition or effort can replace the strength and energy that come from proper sleep, balanced nutrition, and consistent physical activity. Many people chase productivity, wealth, or recognition while neglecting their bodies, yet the truth is that your health is the very engine that powers every other part of your life. If your body is weak, your focus fades. If your sleep is broken, your mind becomes cloudy. If your nutrition is poor, your energy disappears. Without health, even the simplest goals feel heavy. But when you take care of your body with discipline, you gain clarity, strength, and resilience that make improvement not just possible but sustainable. Sleep is the first pillar you must prioritize. Too often, people treat sleep as optional, cutting hours from it to chase tasks, deadlines, or entertainment. But sleep is not wasted time. It is repair time. It is when your body heals, your brain organizes memories, and your energy is restored. Without enough sleep, your decision-making weakens, your mood shifts, and your productivity drops. If you want to force yourself to improve, you must protect your sleep as fiercely as you protect your goals. Set a fixed bedtime, remove distractions from your sleeping environment, and create a wind-down routine that signals your body it is time to rest. Avoid screens, heavy meals, and unnecessary stimulation before bed. Respecting your sleep is respecting your future self, because each night of rest builds the strength you need to win the next day. Nutrition is the second pillar, and it deserves just as much attention. Your body is fueled by what you eat, and every choice you make either adds to your strength or drains it. When you rely on processed foods, sugar and empty calories, your energy spikes and crashes, leaving you sluggish and unfocused. When you choose whole foods, lean proteins, vegetables, fruits and water, your body rewards you with steady energy and sharper thinking. Improvement requires discipline, and that discipline extends to the plate. Start with small but powerful changes. Replace sugary drinks with water, add vegetables to every meal, avoid mindless snacking late at night. These simple adjustments compound over time. Nutrition is not about perfection or strict rules. It is about consistent choices that align with your goals. When you eat well, you feel lighter, stronger, and more capable of tackling challenges. Exercise completes the foundation by strengthening your body and sharpening your mind. Regular movement builds endurance, improves posture, and boosts mental health. Exercise is not only about physical appearance, it is about vitality. When you train your body, you train your discipline. When you push through discomfort in a workout, you build resilience that carries into every other part of life. You do not need extreme routines to benefit. Even 30 minutes of daily movement, walking, stretching, lifting, or any activity that raises your heart rate creates transformation. The key is consistency. Make exercise a non-negotiable part of your schedule, the same way you prioritize meetings or deadlines. Over time, exercise becomes more than a task. It becomes a habit that fuels your confidence and proves to you that you can commit to what matters. What ties sleep, nutrition, and exercise together is balance. You cannot neglect one and expect the others to compensate. You may eat well, but if you never sleep, your energy will collapse. You may train hard, but if you eat poorly, your body will not recover. Improvement demands that you treat health as a complete system, where each part supports the others. When you align all three, rest, fuel, and movement, you create a cycle of energy that strengthens every area of your life. It is important to recognize that prioritizing health is not selfish. Some people avoid taking care of themselves because they feel guilty about spending time on rest or exercise. But neglecting your health does not help others. It only weakens your ability to serve, create, or contribute. By caring for your body, you expand your capacity to give more, work more effectively, and live with greater presence. Your health is not separate from your goals. It is the foundation that sustains them. You will face resistance when building these habits. Staying up late may feel easier than going to bed on time. Reaching for fast food may feel more convenient than cooking. Skipping a workout may feel justified when life is busy. But these are the moments that test your discipline. Improvement is not about comfort. It is about doing what strengthens you, even when it is inconvenient. Every time you choose sleep over scrolling, water over soda, or exercise over excuses, you prove to yourself that you are serious about your growth. Practical strategies make this commitment easier. Prepare your meals ahead of time so you are not tempted by unhealthy options. Set alarms to remind yourself of bedtime. Schedule workouts as appointments you cannot miss. Surround yourself with people who encourage healthy choices. Small adjustments in your environment can eliminate excuses and reinforce discipline. Remember that change does not need to happen overnight. Focus on progress, not perfection. Each step forward, no matter how small, adds strength to your foundation. As your health improves, you will notice changes that go beyond the physical. Your patience grows, your mental clarity sharpens, and your confidence increases. You feel capable of handling stress without breaking. You approach challenges with a stronger mindset because your body supports you instead of holding you back. This transformation gives you proof that taking care of yourself is not optional, it is essential. Ultimately, forcing yourself to improve is not about sheer willpower alone. It is about creating conditions that allow you to thrive. Sleep renews your energy. Nutrition fuels your body. Exercise builds your resilience. Together, they make you unstoppable. Without them, even the strongest ambition collapses under fatigue and weakness. If you want to achieve lasting growth, you must decide today that your health is the highest priority. Treat it as the foundation of everything you want to accomplish, because without it, nothing else will stand. Improvement is not a single action, it is a daily commitment. By choosing rest, by choosing nourishing food, by choosing movement, you are proving to yourself every day that you value your potential. These choices compound over weeks, months and years, shaping a stronger, healthier, more capable version of you. No dream is too big when your body and mind are aligned and prepared to carry you forward. If you want to live with strength, clarity and resilience, then you must prioritize health with sleep, nutrition and regular exercise. Chapter 8. Develop resilience by facing small challenges every week. Strength is not built when life is easy. It is built when you choose to face challenges instead of avoiding them. Every person who has ever grown beyond their limits knows that progress does not come from comfort. It comes from the willingness to take on struggles that seem small but build toughness over time. When you deliberately put yourself in situations that test your patience, your discipline or your persistence, you are preparing yourself for bigger battles that will inevitably arrive. Avoiding challenges makes you weaker, while embracing them, even in small doses, creates resilience that lasts a lifetime. Imagine what happens when you face one small difficulty every week with the mindset of growth. At first, it may seem unnecessary or even uncomfortable. You may tell yourself that it's easier to stick with what you already know, to do only what feels safe and familiar. But the truth is that avoiding friction creates stagnation. Just as muscles grow when they are stressed through exercise, your character grows when you push yourself into situations that test your strength. The difference between someone who thrives in adversity and someone who crumbles is the consistent habit of practicing resilience long before life demands it. Start by choosing challenges that stretch you without overwhelming you. It might be committing to a tough workout that you would normally skip, speaking up in a situation where you would usually stay silent, or tackling a task you've been postponing. These may feel like small steps, but each one reinforces the idea that you are capable of handling discomfort. Over time, your mind adapts. You stop fearing the challenge itself and start embracing the satisfaction that comes from overcoming it. That satisfaction fuels confidence, and confidence fuels momentum. Think about how a single small challenge changes the way you view yourself. When you run a mile more than you thought you could, you start believing you're capable of great endurance. When you sit down and focus on a complex project instead of letting procrastination win, you begin to see yourself as someone who follows through. These shifts in identity are powerful because they build a foundation that no setback can easily shake. Resilience is not about pretending life is easy. It's about proving to yourself week after week that you can adapt, endure, and push through difficulty. One of the biggest mistakes people make is waiting for motivation before they take on challenges. The truth is, motivation often comes after you've acted, not before. When you intentionally step into a test of willpower, your brain learns to operate under pressure, and that becomes a habit. Facing discomfort regularly reduces the fear of failure because you know you've been there before and survived. Instead of freezing when something unexpected happens, you lean on your experience of handling smaller challenges to push forward. Resilience also teaches you emotional control. When you're in the middle of a challenge, whether it's physical, mental, or emotional, your first instinct may be frustration or self-doubt. But by practicing patience and persistence, you learn to stay calm in the storm. The ability to regulate your emotions under stress is one of the most valuable skills you can ever develop. It keeps you from making rash decisions, strengthens your relationships, and gives you clarity in difficult situations. And that clarity often makes the difference between progress and defeat. Every week is an opportunity to design your own training ground for resilience. You don't need to wait for life to throw hardships at you. Set goals that stretch your limits. If you're afraid of rejection, challenge yourself to put your ideas out there even if people might disagree. If discipline is your weakness, challenge yourself to stick to a routine with no excuses. If physical stamina is lacking, challenge yourself with consistent exercise. Every area of your life can be strengthened through deliberate, weekly challenges. The point is not to make life harder than it needs to be, but to prepare yourself so that when hardship inevitably arrives, you are not caught unprepared. Resilience also requires reflection. After facing a challenge, take time to analyze how you responded. Did you stay composed, or did frustration control you? Did you finish what you started, or did you quit halfway? Reflection turns experience into wisdom, and wisdom multiplies the benefits of every small challenge you face. Without reflection, you risk repeating the same mistakes. With reflection, every challenge becomes a stepping stone to greater strength. It's important to understand that resilience is not a one-time achievement. It is a continuous process, something you must build and rebuild throughout life. Just like physical strength fades if you stop exercising, mental toughness weakens if you avoid challenges for too long. That's why the commitment to face small tests every week is so powerful. It keeps your resilience sharp, active, and ready for anything. Over the months and years, this habit compounds, transforming you into someone who cannot be broken by circumstances. People often admire those who seem unshakable in the face of adversity, but what they don't see is the practice behind that strength. Those who appear unbreakable did not get there by accident. They got there by facing countless small battles that no one else noticed. They built the habit of perseverance until it became their default response to difficulty. You have the same ability within you. Every small challenge you accept is an investment in your future stability and success. There will be times when you fail, and that is part of the process. Failure is not the opposite of resilience. It is the training ground for it. Each time you fall short, you are given the chance to stand back up stronger. The act of rising after failure is itself the essence of resilience. Avoiding failure by avoiding challenges only leaves you fragile. Embracing failure as part of growth makes you unshakable. The real power of developing resilience through weekly challenges is that it rewires the way you see life. You stop expecting things to be easy, and instead you expect yourself to be strong enough to handle whatever comes. That shift in perspective frees you from fear. You no longer spend your energy hoping the world won't test you. Instead, you trust your own ability to endure and adapt. That mindset is the mark of someone who is truly resilient. So make the decision today. Choose one challenge this week that pushes you outside your comfort zone. Next week, choose another. Keep stacking these experiences until resilience becomes who you are. Over time, you will not only become tougher, but also more confident, more disciplined, and more capable of living fully, no matter what life brings. The small challenges you embrace today are the foundation of the unstoppable strength you will carry into tomorrow. Chapter 9. Conduct honest self-review and accept constructive feedback. Real growth begins the moment you stop lying to yourself and start seeing your actions exactly as they are. Too many people stay stuck, not because they lack potential, but because they refuse to hold an honest mirror up to their own lives. If you are not willing to confront your weaknesses, your blind spots, and the patterns that sabotage your progress, you will repeat the same mistakes year after year while convincing yourself that you are moving forward. The truth may be uncomfortable, but it is the only foundation upon which real progress is built. An honest self-review is not about criticizing yourself endlessly or focusing only on what went wrong. It is about creating a clear picture of where you stand right now compared to where you want to be. When you sit down at the end of a day, a week, or even a month, you have an opportunity to evaluate your choices without excuses. Did your actions match your goals? Did you honor your commitments? Did you put in the effort that success requires? When the answer is no, it does not mean you are a failure. It means you are human, and that honesty gives you the power to adjust instead of pretending. Most people avoid this kind of reflection because it requires vulnerability. It is easier to blame circumstances, other people, or bad luck than to admit you didn't give your best. But when you take responsibility, you gain control. You may not be able to change everything around you, but you can change how you act, how you think, and how you prepare. Every honest review you conduct is like turning on a light in a dark room. You can finally see what has been holding you back. The second part of growth comes from being willing to accept constructive feedback. Too often, pride gets in the way. When someone points out a weakness or suggests an improvement, the instinct is to defend yourself, to argue, or to dismiss their words. But feedback, when taken seriously, is one of the most valuable tools you will ever receive. It gives you an outside perspective you could never achieve on your own. You may think you are doing everything right, but someone else may notice habits, behaviors, or mistakes you have overlooked. Ignoring that insight keeps you stuck, while embracing it accelerates your growth. Think about how athletes improve. Even the best performers in the world have coaches. Why? Because no matter how skilled you are, you cannot see yourself from the outside. A coach can spot flaws in technique, gaps in discipline, or missed opportunities that the athlete would never recognize. Life works the same way. Friends, mentors, colleagues, or even critics can show you where you need to improve. The question is whether you have the humility to listen and apply what they tell you. Honest self-review and constructive feedback go hand in hand. One without the other leaves you incomplete. If you only rely on self-review, you may remain blind to weaknesses that others can easily see. If you only rely on feedback from others, you may become dependent on external validation instead of building the discipline to evaluate yourself. But when you combine both, you create a system of continuous improvement that strengthens you over time. There is also a right way to conduct self-review. You must be specific and objective. General statements like, "I need to do better," or "I should try harder," are too vague to create change. Instead, ask yourself concrete questions. How many hours did I dedicate to my goals this week? How consistent was I in following my routine? Where did I lose focus? What situations triggered procrastination? Did I react with patience under pressure or let emotions control me? These questions remove the fog of excuses and bring you clarity. With clarity, you know exactly what to improve. When it comes to feedback, the key is to separate ego from progress. Not every piece of feedback will be delivered kindly, and not every opinion will be accurate. But if you dismiss everything that hurts your feelings, you risk missing valuable truths. Instead of asking, "Do I like how this was said?" ask, "Is there truth in what was said?" Even harsh criticism often contains a piece of insight that can help you grow. Your job is not to get defensive, but to extract the lesson and use it. Over time, the practice of self-review and feedback develops into a habit of accountability. You stop seeing mistakes as personal failures and start viewing them as data. If you skipped your commitments 3 times in a week, that is not a reason to feel ashamed. It is information showing you where discipline must be strengthened. If someone tells you that your communication is unclear, that is not an insult. It is information showing you where to improve your influence. This shift from emotion to accountability gives you the power to make constant practical changes. One of the greatest benefits of this practice is self-awareness. Most people live unaware of their own habits, repeating the same cycles while wondering why nothing changes. Self-awareness breaks that cycle. It shows you your triggers, your excuses, your patterns, and your strengths. And once you are aware, you cannot go back to ignorance. You may still struggle, but now you are equipped to deal with it consciously instead of blindly. That awareness alone separates achievers from those who remain stuck. Another benefit is humility. Accepting feedback with openness makes you a stronger person, not a weaker one. It proves you value growth more than pride. When people see that you are willing to listen and learn, they respect you more. Leaders who refuse feedback lose trust, while leaders who embrace it earn loyalty. In relationships, being open to feedback strengthens bonds. In business, it improves performance. In personal growth, it accelerates change. Humility is not weakness, it is wisdom in action. If you want to master this practice, create a routine. Set aside time every week to honestly review your performance. Write down what went well and what didn't. Track your progress in specific areas. Then seek feedback from people you trust. Ask them where they see room for improvement. Encourage honesty instead of flattery. The more you make this a habit, the more natural it becomes. Over months and years, this routine creates a cycle of continuous progress that compounds into extraordinary results. The hardest part of this process is facing the truth. Sometimes the truth will sting. It may reveal laziness, inconsistency, or habits you wish you didn't have. But remember this, the truth is your ally, not your enemy. It may hurt your pride, but it will save your future. Every time you accept reality instead of hiding from it, you take one more step toward becoming the person you are meant to be. You do not need to fear mistakes when you commit to self-review and feedback, because mistakes become stepping stones. Each one shows you exactly where to adjust, and each adjustment brings you closer to success. The people who succeed are not the ones who never stumble. They are the ones who learn from every stumble and move forward stronger. So challenge yourself today. Stop avoiding the mirror. Sit down and review your actions with complete honesty. Then go a step further and invite feedback from others, even if it makes you uncomfortable. Make this a weekly practice, and you will discover a level of growth you never imagined possible. The discipline of self-review and the humility to accept feedback are 2 of the most powerful tools you will ever have. Use them consistently, and you will create a life defined not by excuses, but by progress and achievement. Chapter 10. Set strict limits on social media and aim productivity. Productivity begins the moment you take back control of your attention, and one of the greatest battles of our time is learning to limit how much of your life you surrender to social media. Every notification, every endless scroll, and every carefully designed feed is built to keep you hooked, and if you don't create strict boundaries, you will wake up one day realizing hours, even years, have slipped away without meaningful progress. The path to improvement is not about cutting technology out of your life entirely, but about using it with intention instead of letting it use you. The first step is to recognize how much time disappears into passive consumption. Many people underestimate it, thinking they only spend a few minutes here and there, but when tracked, it often adds up to several hours each day. That time could have been invested in health, skills, relationships, or building something meaningful. Without awareness, social media becomes a silent thief, stealing focus from your goals. Awareness must turn into action, and the action is strict limits that protect your productivity. Setting boundaries is not a suggestion. It is a requirement if you want to achieve meaningful results. You can start with simple, clear rules. No social media in the morning before your priorities are completed, no scrolling during work hours, and a fixed window of time in the evening if you choose to use it. These rules create structure, and structure creates freedom. By cutting down exposure, you stop giving away your peak energy to distractions that add nothing to your future. Productivity thrives when attention is directed, not scattered. Every time you check your phone in the middle of work, you pay what scientists call a switching cost, the mental energy and time it takes to refocus after interruption. This cost accumulates throughout the day, leaving you drained and frustrated. By removing unnecessary exposure to distractions, you preserve mental clarity and create space for deep, meaningful work. The hours you reclaim are not just hours, they are opportunities to change your life. Another important step is to replace mindless scrolling with intentional activities. Limiting social media only works if you fill the space with something better. Read books that expand your mind, exercise to strengthen your body, or practice skills that advance your career or passions. Even resting with intention, such as walking outside or having a genuine conversation, is far more valuable than being lost in a digital feed. The goal is not just to cut out, but to elevate how you spend your time. There will be resistance at first. Social media has been designed to trigger dopamine in your brain, and when you try to break free, you may feel restless or bored. This is a sign of how much control the platforms had over you. By holding firm to your limits, you retrain your brain to find satisfaction in activities that actually improve your life instead of those that keep you stuck. The discipline you build here carries into every area of self-improvement. Practical strategies help make this discipline real. Remove apps from your phone that tempt you to waste time. Use tools that block access during work hours. Keep your phone out of reach when focusing on important tasks. Schedule check-ins rather than allowing constant access. Each step reduces the pull of distraction and strengthens your control. Remember, you do not need to eliminate social media completely, but you must define when and how you use it. Without definition, it will define you. What you gain from this discipline is not just time, it is clarity. When your mind is no longer pulled in 1,000 directions, you notice how much calmer and more focused you feel. You stop comparing your life to endless highlight reels online, which often breed insecurity and dissatisfaction. Instead, you invest in your own growth, your own journey, and your own progress. This shift from consuming other people's lives to building your own is where real power is found. The deeper benefit of setting limits is that it teaches you mastery over impulse. Every time you resist the urge to open an app out of habit, you strengthen your ability to delay gratification. That skill applies to every aspect of life, from saving money to maintaining health, to staying disciplined in your work. When you can control your impulses in the small areas, you prepare yourself to succeed in the bigger ones. Consider how much more meaningful your days become when distractions no longer dominate them. Instead of hours slipping by unnoticed, you become intentional about where your attention goes. You begin to complete projects that once felt impossible. You gain energy to nurture relationships that truly matter. You discover time for self-care that you used to believe you didn't have. The limits you set may feel small, but the results they create are profound. There is also freedom in knowing you are no longer controlled by something designed to manipulate your attention. Many people are trapped without realizing it, checking their phones hundreds of times a day without purpose. By choosing strict limits, you are no longer part of that cycle. You step into a life where you are in charge of your focus, your time, and your growth. That kind of freedom is rare, and it belongs to those disciplined enough to claim it. To truly aim for productivity, you must ask yourself daily, is what I am doing right now moving me closer to my goals, or is it stealing from my future? This question cuts through excuses. It reminds you that every moment matters. When you choose productivity, you are not just working more, you are working with direction and purpose. The satisfaction that comes from finishing meaningful work is far greater than the empty relief of endless scrolling. You must also guard against the illusion of productivity that social media can create. Watching motivational videos, reading endless quotes, or following success stories can feel like progress, but it is not. Inspiration without execution changes nothing. Use social media if you choose to, as a tool for learning or connection, but always follow it with action. Otherwise, you are simply entertaining yourself with ideas you will never apply. At the heart of all this is discipline. Discipline is not punishment, it is protection. It protects your time from waste, your mind from distraction, and your energy from being scattered. Discipline is the path to freedom. Because once you set rules for how you use social media, you are no longer at its mercy. You choose when to engage and when to focus, and that choice is the foundation of lasting productivity. The change may not be easy, but it will be worth it. Each day you reclaim even an hour from distraction, you add an hour to building a better life. Each week, those hours add up, and each month the progress compounds. Over time, the difference between a life controlled by distraction and a life controlled by discipline becomes undeniable. One is filled with regret and wasted potential, the other is filled with growth and achievement. Your time is the most valuable resource you will ever have. Social media will continue to tempt you, but it is your responsibility to decide whether you give in or take control. Strict limits may feel restrictive at first, but they are the key to unlocking your highest potential. Every boundary you set is a declaration that your future matters more than your distractions. Choose wisely, and you will discover that productivity is not about working harder, it is about protecting what truly matters. Chapter 11. Create accountability by sharing goals with trusted partners. The fastest way to multiply your progress is to stop trying to do everything alone and start building accountability with people you trust. When you share your goals with the right partners, you create an environment where excuses lose power and discipline becomes stronger. Most people fail not because they lack ambition, but because they rely only on willpower. Willpower fades, but accountability keeps you consistent long after motivation disappears. When you tell someone you respect about your goals, you place a weight of responsibility on yourself that pushes you to follow through. It is one thing to let yourself down, but it feels much heavier to let down a partner who is invested in your progress. This pressure is not negative, it is a force that strengthens you. It shifts your mindset from "I'll try" to "I must." That shift is often the difference between talking about improvement and actually achieving it. The key is choosing trusted partners. Not everyone deserves to hear your goals. Some will discourage you, some will mock you, and some will not care enough to hold you accountable. You must choose people who want to see you grow, who believe in high standards, and who are not afraid to tell you the truth when you fall short. These partners can be friends, mentors, colleagues, or even support groups, but the bond must be rooted in honesty and commitment. Once you share your goals, you must make the accountability clear and structured. Vague promises lead to vague results. Instead of saying, "I want to get healthier," Say, I will exercise 4 times this week, and I will report back on Sunday. The more specific your commitments, the easier it is for your partner to hold you accountable. Structure eliminates room for excuses. It sets a standard that is either met or not met, and that clarity pushes you forward. Accountability also creates momentum because it introduces consistency. Imagine knowing that every week you will sit down with someone and report on your actions. That knowledge changes the way you approach each day. You become more deliberate, more focused, and more disciplined because you know your choices will be reviewed. Over time, this consistent pressure builds habits that become second nature. What once required effort becomes automatic. There is also an emotional strength that comes from accountability. Pursuing big goals can feel lonely, and setbacks can make you doubt yourself. But when you have partners who walk the journey with you, you are reminded that you are not alone. Their encouragement helps you stay grounded during struggles, and their belief in you reinforces your belief in yourself. Even the toughest challenges feel lighter when shared with someone who supports you. Accountability works best when it is mutual. Instead of only receiving support, also commit to helping your partner stay on track with their goals. This two-way relationship deepens trust and creates shared discipline. When you both check in on each other, you form a bond that strengthens over time. You are no longer just individuals chasing improvement. You are a team dedicated to growth. That team spirit fuels perseverance in ways that self-discipline alone cannot. Practical tools make accountability even stronger. You can set up weekly check-ins in person, over the phone, or through video calls. You can create shared documents or apps to track progress. You can even set consequences for missed commitments, such as donating to a cause you dislike or adding extra work. These methods raise the stakes and make it harder to back out. The more real the accountability feels, the more effective it becomes. There will be times when you fall short. Accountability is not about perfection. It is about consistency and honesty. When you miss a target, do not hide it or make excuses. Admit it openly, and use the feedback from your partner to adjust. This honesty builds resilience, because every time you confront failure directly, you learn to rise stronger. Over time, you will notice that the fear of disappointing your partner actually helps you avoid those mistakes in the first place. It is also important to understand that accountability is not control. The purpose is not to hand your life over to someone else, but to strengthen your discipline through shared responsibility. You remain the driver of your journey. Your partner simply ensures you do not drift off course. True accountability empowers you. It does not weaken you. One of the greatest long-term benefits of accountability is the character it develops. By sticking to your word and proving yourself reliable to others, you build integrity. People begin to trust you more, not just in personal matters, but in professional opportunities. Employers, clients, and relationships all value consistency. When you become someone who always follows through, doors open that would never open for someone who constantly makes excuses. Accountability also helps you think bigger. When you have support and external reinforcement, you feel more confident aiming for ambitious goals. You know you will not face challenges alone, and that safety net encourages you to stretch beyond your comfort zone. Without accountability, fear often keeps goals small. With accountability, courage expands. You must also protect accountability from becoming dependent. It is a tool to strengthen discipline, not a crutch to replace it. Use your partners to push you until the habits become part of who you are. The ultimate goal is not to need reminders forever, but to internalize the discipline so deeply that you hold yourself accountable naturally. External accountability starts the fire, but internal accountability keeps it burning. The journey of improvement is filled with obstacles, And it is easy to drift when no one notices. But when you declare your goals to someone you respect, you make drifting far less likely. Each check-in becomes a checkpoint, each conversation a reminder, and each promise a commitment. Slowly but surely your discipline sharpens, your consistency strengthens, and your results multiply. Ask yourself today, who in your life can hold you accountable? Choose wisely, because the right partner can change the pace of your progress dramatically. Be specific in what you commit to, be honest when you fall short, and be open to both encouragement and correction. In return, offer the same support to them. Together, you will achieve more than you could alone. At the end of the day, accountability is about respect. Respect for yourself and for the people who believe in you. When you share your goals and follow through, you prove that your word matters. You build a reputation for reliability, and that reputation creates trust, influence, and opportunity. Improvement becomes inevitable when excuses are no longer an option. So if you want to move faster, stay consistent, and achieve results that once felt out of reach, stop keeping your goals a secret. Share them with someone you trust. Build structures that hold you accountable. Push through the discomfort of being exposed, because in that exposure lies your strength. Accountability is not just a tool, it is a commitment to growth that ensures your goals are no longer wishes, but realities. Chapter 12. Train your attention with daily mindfulness and deep work. Your ability to focus is the single greatest advantage you can develop in a world that constantly tries to steal your attention. Every distraction that pulls you away weakens your progress, while every moment of deep concentration brings you closer to mastery. If you want to train your mind to achieve more, you must learn how to sharpen your attention through daily mindfulness and deliberate deep work. Mindfulness is not about sitting still for hours. It is about training yourself to become aware of where your mind goes and learning how to bring it back. Most people drift through the day with their attention scattered, reacting to whatever appears in front of them. Notifications, noise, conversations, and endless thoughts compete for space. Without control, this chaos prevents clarity. But mindfulness retrains the brain to notice distractions without being controlled by them. By practicing presence, even for a few minutes each day, you begin to develop the strength to direct your thoughts instead of being pulled in every direction. This practice is like exercising a muscle. At first, it feels difficult. Your mind races, you feel restless, and distractions seem unstoppable. But the more you practice, the easier it becomes to return to the present moment. Over time, the gap between distraction and awareness shortens, and you reclaim control. Eventually, mindfulness helps you carry calm focus into everything you do, working, studying, speaking, or even resting. It gives you mental discipline, and that discipline becomes the foundation for productivity. Deep work builds on that foundation. While mindfulness sharpens your ability to notice and control attention, deep work channels that attention into tasks that matter most. Deep work means dedicating uninterrupted time to a single priority, free from noise and shallow distractions. This is where breakthroughs happen. A few hours of true deep work can produce more progress than an entire week of scattered effort. The key is quality, not just quantity. To train yourself in deep work, you must create conditions that make focus unavoidable. That means designing an environment where distractions cannot easily reach you. Turn off notifications, clear unnecessary clutter, and let others know you are unavailable during that period. Treat this time as sacred. It is your most valuable resource. When you enter deep work with full attention, your productivity multiplies, your creativity expands, and your ability to solve problems sharpens. Consistency is what transforms deep work into a habit. If you only practice it occasionally, it will always feel like a struggle. But if you schedule time every day, even for short sessions, your brain adapts. You teach yourself how to enter focus faster and stay there longer. Like training for strength, repetition builds endurance. Over time, deep work becomes your natural state when tackling important challenges. Daily mindfulness also reinforces this habit because it clears mental clutter. Without mindfulness, you bring stress, worry, and restlessness into your deep work sessions, and your mind resists focus. But when you practice mindfulness beforehand, you approach work with clarity and calm. This combination makes focus deeper and more sustainable. You no longer waste energy fighting distractions because your mind is already steady. Training your attention requires patience because the modern world is designed to weaken it. Everything around you is built to grab your eyes, your ears, and your thoughts. If you do not train yourself to resist, you will live scattered and restless. But once you commit to mindfulness and deep work, you gain an edge that most people will never develop. You will think clearer, act faster, and achieve more because your energy is not diluted across dozens of meaningless distractions. One of the most powerful ways to strengthen attention is to begin the day with mindfulness before any external noise enters your life. A few minutes of focused breathing, observation, or quiet reflection sets the tone for your entire day. It reminds you that you control your thoughts and that your attention belongs to you, not to the endless stream of interruptions. With this clarity, when you transition into your work, your focus is sharper and you resist distractions with ease. Another strategy is to set clear boundaries for deep work sessions. Decide exactly what task you will focus on, how long you will work, and when you will stop. This creates structure and prevents drift. When you know you only have 90 minutes to finish a critical task, your mind naturally sharpens. Combine this with mindfulness, and you will find yourself entering flow states more often, those rare periods when work feels effortless and time disappears. It is also important to track your progress. Notice how your attention improves as you practice. At first, you may only manage 20 minutes of deep concentration before your mind wanders, but after weeks of training, you might sustain hours of focused effort. Celebrate these improvements because they reflect the rewiring of your brain. You are teaching yourself to resist distraction in a way that most people never attempt. Mindfulness and deep work also reshape the way you experience life outside of productivity. When you train your attention, you begin to notice details you used to overlook. Conversations become richer because you listen fully. Daily routines feel more meaningful because you experience them with presence instead of rushing through mindlessly. Even rest becomes deeper because your mind no longer feels pulled in 100 directions. Attention is not just about work, it is about living fully. Discipline plays a key role here. You cannot expect your attention to sharpen if you constantly give in to easy distractions. Every time you choose to scroll instead of focus, you weaken the muscle of attention. Every time you push through discomfort and remain present, you strengthen it. Mindfulness teaches you to notice these choices in real time, and deep work gives you the opportunity to act on them. Together, they form a cycle of growth that compounds over time. Eventually, training your attention gives you freedom. Freedom from wasted time, freedom from scattered thinking, and freedom from the anxiety that comes with never finishing what you start. Most people are prisoners of distraction. They never realize their potential because they cannot stay with one thing long enough to see results. But when you master attention, you escape that trap. You reclaim your ability to choose where your energy goes, and that choice is what creates success. Every major achievement in history was the result of someone who learned how to focus deeply on their work. Whether it was inventors, writers, leaders, or thinkers, their breakthroughs did not come from multitasking or constant distraction. They came from undivided attention, applied consistently. If you want to build something meaningful, you must cultivate the same ability. So begin today. Dedicate time for mindfulness. Protect hours for deep work. Train your attention like it is the most valuable skill you can develop. Because it is. The more you practice, the sharper your mind becomes. The sharper your mind becomes, the faster you progress. And once you master attention, you hold the power to direct your life wherever you choose. Chapter 13. Master one skill at a time until you excel. Excellence is never achieved by scattering your energy across too many directions. It comes from mastering one skill at a time with complete focus and commitment. When you decide to dedicate yourself to one craft, one discipline, or one area of growth, you create the possibility of achieving a level of ability that sets you apart. Too many people spread themselves thin, chasing one interest today and another tomorrow, never staying long enough in any of them to reach real strength. The truth is, greatness comes from choosing a single target and pursuing it until you can perform it with confidence, consistency, and authority. Mastery requires patience, and this is where many give up too soon. At the beginning, progress feels slow. You make mistakes, feel clumsy, and wonder if you have what it takes. But this is the natural stage of growth. No one begins as an expert. The difference between those who excel and those who quit is the willingness to endure this uncomfortable stage until skills begin to develop. Every expert you admire once felt uncertain, but they chose persistence over discouragement. By sticking with one skill long enough, they pushed through the early struggle and discovered the rewards on the other side. When you focus on mastering a single skill, you give your brain the repetition and depth it needs to build strength. Just as muscles grow when you train the same movement consistently, your mind develops when you return to the same practice again and again. Each session adds a new layer of ability. Over time, small improvements compound into significant progress. The world often underestimates the power of consistent, focused practice, but it is the very engine of mastery. Clarity is essential here. You must decide what skill is worth your time and energy. Without clarity, you risk wasting years chasing distractions. Ask yourself what ability will create the biggest impact in your life, career, or personal growth. Once you decide, commit fully. Eliminate the temptation to jump from one thing to another. The discipline to stay with a single skill until you excel is rare, and that rarity is exactly what makes it so powerful. Excelling in one skill creates opportunities that spreading your energy never will. Think about the people who stand out in any field. They are not average in many things, but extraordinary in one. Employers, clients, and communities recognize and reward those who have developed a rare and valuable ability. When you reach a level of expertise in one area, doors open that remain closed to the generalist who never stayed long enough to specialize. Mastery turns you into an authority, and authority attracts trust, respect, and influence. But mastery is not only about external recognition, it also transforms your confidence. When you know that you can perform at a high level, you carry yourself differently. You trust yourself more, take bigger risks, and face challenges with resilience because you have evidence of your capability. This inner confidence is priceless, and it only comes from the discipline of pushing one skill to excellence. The process of mastery requires deliberate practice, not just casual repetition. It is not enough to go through the motions. You must push yourself slightly beyond your comfort zone each time. Identify weaknesses, refine techniques, and seek feedback that highlights blind spots. The deeper you go into a skill, the more you discover subtle layers that separate the good from the great. By addressing these small details, you move from competence to excellence. Another key to excelling in one skill is consistency. Sporadic effort, produces shallow results. Daily or regular practice ingrains habits into your nervous system. Even short sessions add up if done with focus. The key is not intensity alone, but the rhythm of returning again and again until the skill becomes second nature. This is how musicians, athletes, and professionals reach a point where their performance looks effortless. It is the result of thousands of hours of consistent, mindful practice. Mastering one skill also builds resilience for future growth. Once you know how to take one ability from beginner to expert, you understand the process of mastery itself. You learn how to manage frustration, how to break down complex tasks, and how to sustain discipline. These lessons make it easier to repeat the cycle in other areas of life. But the foundation is always the same. Focus on one skill at a time, stay with it long enough, and do not quit when progress slows. Distractions are the greatest enemy of mastery. The world constantly tempts you with new trends, quick opportunities, and instant gratification. But if you chase everything, you master nothing. Protect your focus like it is the most valuable resource you have, because it is. Say no to tasks, hobbies, or commitments that pull you away from the skill you are trying to excel in. This discipline may feel restrictive in the short term, but in the long run, it gives you the freedom that comes with expertise. Another important factor is mentorship. Finding someone who has already mastered the skill you seek can accelerate your progress. A mentor shortens your learning curve by pointing out mistakes you cannot see on your own. They provide strategies, insights, and encouragement that keep you moving forward when frustration sets in. While mastery is ultimately your responsibility, learning from those who have walked the path makes the journey faster and more efficient. Patience is critical. Many people underestimate how long mastery takes. They want quick results and lose interest when growth feels slow. But mastery is not measured in days or weeks. It is measured in months and years of dedication. When you embrace the long-term journey, you free yourself from the frustration of expecting instant success. Instead, you celebrate small wins and steady progress, knowing that excellence is being built layer by layer. The rewards of mastery extend far beyond the skill itself. The discipline, confidence, and mental strength you develop carry into every area of life. You become more focused, more resilient, and more capable of handling challenges. People recognize you as someone who delivers with excellence, and this reputation creates opportunities that others never experience. But most importantly, mastery gives you personal fulfillment. There is a deep satisfaction in knowing that you have developed true strength in one area, that you can perform at a level most cannot, and that you have earned this ability through discipline and persistence. So, commit to the path of mastery. Choose one skill, focus deeply, practice consistently, seek feedback, and stay with it until you excel. Do not allow distractions or impatience to pull you away. The world may be full of options, but true success belongs to those who pursue depth instead of breadth. When you master one skill at a time, you create a foundation of excellence that will support every future achievement. Your ability to excel is within your control. Choose your skill, give it everything, and rise above the average until you stand in mastery. Chapter 14. Automate decisions to save energy for important tasks. The fastest way to reclaim your focus and unlock higher levels of productivity is by learning how to automate decisions so your mind has more energy for the tasks that truly matter. Every day you face countless small choices that slowly drain your willpower, from what to wear, what to eat, when to start working, to how to spend your free time. Each of these choices might seem insignificant on its own, but together they create a constant pull on your attention. By simplifying and automating the routine parts of your life, you remove unnecessary mental noise and create space for deep concentration on the goals that actually shape your future. Decision fatigue is real, and it is one of the biggest hidden obstacles to progress. The more decisions you are forced to make throughout the day, the weaker your ability to make the right ones becomes. This is why so many people start the day with good intentions, but lose discipline as the hours pass. They have spent so much energy deciding on trivial matters that when it comes time for important tasks, their mind is already tired. Automating your decisions is not about limiting freedom, it is about protecting mental strength for what truly counts. One of the most effective ways to automate decisions is to establish routines. A strong morning routine, for example, removes the need to decide how to begin the day. Instead of wasting time and energy thinking about whether to exercise, meditate, or check your phone, you simply follow a structure you have already designed. Over time, this structure becomes automatic. You no longer wrestle with indecision. You just do the actions that align with your goals. This not only saves energy but also builds discipline without constant struggle. Clothing is another area where automation can make a surprising difference. Many highly successful individuals simplify their wardrobe to reduce decision-making. By limiting options, you remove the stress of daily outfit choices and reserve that energy for creative or strategic work. The goal is not to eliminate personal expression, but to streamline unimportant choices so that your mental resources remain sharp for the challenges that matter most. Meal planning is also an area where automation creates freedom. Deciding what to eat 3 times a day consumes more time and thought than most people realize. By planning meals in advance, preparing simple, healthy options, or even eating similar meals throughout the week, you avoid the constant drain of food-related decisions. More importantly, you reduce the chance of making poor choices out of convenience or fatigue. Automation here not only preserves energy but also strengthens health, which directly supports higher performance in every area of life. Automating decisions does not mean you must become rigid or inflexible. Instead, it is about creating systems that handle predictable parts of your life, so your creativity and problem-solving ability can be applied where it is needed most. For example, instead of wondering each night whether you will exercise tomorrow, you schedule your workouts in advance. Instead of deciding every time you face an email whether to respond immediately or later, you set a clear rule for how and when you process messages. These small systems remove hesitation, which is often the biggest barrier to action. Technology can also be used to automate decisions. Calendar reminders, budgeting apps, habit trackers, and automatic bill payments all reduce the number of small choices you must make. They prevent procrastination and free your mind from the burden of remembering details. The key is to use technology as a tool that reduces friction rather than as another source of distraction. Properly set systems work in the background, allowing you to focus fully on meaningful work. By automating decisions, you also strengthen self-control. Instead of battling temptation in the moment, you remove the need for willpower by deciding once in advance. For example, if you want to reduce social media use, you can install tools that block access during work hours. If you want to save money, you can set up automatic transfers to a savings account. Each of these actions eliminates the daily struggle of resisting temptation and replaces it with a system that protects your long-term goals. The psychological benefit of automation is that it creates mental clarity. When your day is not cluttered with endless small choices, you feel lighter and more focused. This clarity reduces stress and allows you to think more strategically. It is not about controlling every second of your life, but about intentionally designing your environment so that the right decisions become the easy ones. Automating decisions also increases consistency, which is one of the most powerful forces for growth. When you have routines and systems in place, you no longer rely on motivation to guide you. Motivation rises and falls, but systems remain steady. This steadiness is what allows progress to compound over time. By ensuring that important actions happen without constant debate, you create momentum that pushes you forward even when your energy is low. Another advantage is the time you reclaim. All the minutes saved by not debating small decisions add up to hours across weeks and months. These hours can then be invested into learning, building, creating, or connecting activities that actually improve your life in meaningful ways. The return on this time is far greater than anything you gain from endlessly choosing between trivial options. It is important, however, to automate with purpose. Do not simply copy routines or systems from others without considering your own values and priorities. Automation should serve your unique goals. The best systems are the ones that align with your vision of who you want to become. When designed carefully, they act as a silent partner, guiding you toward the life you truly desire. The deeper lesson in automating decisions is about respecting your mental energy. Your focus and willpower are limited resources. Every unnecessary choice drains them. Every unnecessary debate weakens them. By protecting these resources through automation, you give yourself the strength to excel in the areas that matter most. You stop wasting energy on the unimportant and redirect it toward growth, creation, and contribution. So decide today where you can simplify. Look at your mornings, your meals, your work processes, your financial habits, and your use of technology. Identify the decisions you repeat daily or weekly and create systems that remove them from your mental load. Each automated choice is an investment in clarity, discipline, and freedom. The more you streamline the small things, the more power you gain to tackle the big things. Life does not reward the person who spreads their attention thin across endless small decisions. It rewards the person who reserves their energy for the few choices that truly matter. By automating decisions, you position yourself among the few who use their time and mind with intention. This discipline becomes the foundation for extraordinary results. Automate where you can, focus where it matters, and watch how much more you are capable of achieving when your energy is no longer wasted on the trivial. Chapter 15. Track habits with simple tools and celebrate small wins. The fastest way to turn effort into real progress is to track your habits consistently and celebrate every small win along the way. Success is rarely the result of sudden inspiration or massive leaps. It comes from repeated actions performed over time. Tracking habits makes the invisible visible. When you write down what you do each day, you can see patterns, measure growth, and hold yourself accountable. Without tracking, it is easy to believe you are doing enough, while your actions remain inconsistent or misaligned with your goals. Simple tools are all you need to get started. A notebook, a calendar, or even a habit tracking app is sufficient. The key is to record your actions in a clear, consistent manner. This process transforms vague intentions into tangible results. For example, marking an X on a calendar for every day you complete a habit may seem small, but over time, the visual chain of consistency becomes motivating. Each mark is proof that you are building momentum and that your effort is not wasted. Celebrating small wins is equally critical. Most people overlook tiny victories because they are focused only on large outcomes. But each small step matters because it compounds over time. Finishing a task, completing a workout, or sticking to a new routine deserves recognition. When you acknowledge these moments, your brain releases positive reinforcement, making it more likely you will continue. Small celebrations do not need to be elaborate. Even a moment of self-recognition or a short reward can solidify the habit loop. Tracking habits also exposes weaknesses. When you consistently record your actions, it becomes obvious which areas need improvement. Perhaps you skip a workout on Thursdays, procrastinate on certain tasks, or struggle to maintain focus during specific hours. Awareness is the first step toward change. Without tracking, these patterns remain hidden, and progress becomes random instead of intentional. Once you see the trends, you can make adjustments, set reminders, or reorganize your schedule to reinforce consistency. The act of tracking itself strengthens discipline. Recording your habits is a small daily commitment, but it signals to your mind that your goals matter. This external reminder reinforces internal accountability. Over time, this practice cultivates a mindset of ownership and responsibility. You start noticing when you are off track and naturally take steps to correct it. Habits are no longer a vague idea, but a series of concrete actions that can be measured and improved. Using simple tools reduces friction and prevents overwhelm. Complexity often leads to procrastination, so keep your system straightforward. Even a simple checklist works wonders. Marking off each completed task provides instant feedback and visual evidence of progress. This clarity removes uncertainty and gives you control over your daily actions. The simpler the system, the more likely you are to stick with it consistently, and the more data you will have to improve. Celebrating small wins also fuels motivation during challenging times. There will be days when your energy is low, distractions are high, or results feel distant. Recognizing even a minor accomplishment on those days keeps your momentum alive. It reminds you that effort is not wasted, and that each positive action contributes to long-term success. Over time, these small celebrations build a resilient mindset that thrives on progress rather than perfection. Tracking habits allows for measurable improvement. Without numbers or evidence, growth is subjective. When you consistently record your actions, you can evaluate trends, see how far you've come, and identify areas needing focus. This measurement transforms vague intentions into actionable insights. You begin to understand not only what you are doing, but how effective each action is. Data-driven awareness gives you the power to refine your approach and accelerate results. Accountability increases when habits are tracked and shared. If you report your progress to a partner, friend, or mentor, you add an external layer of reinforcement. The combination of personal tracking and social accountability strengthens your commitment. Knowing that someone else will see your progress motivates you to follow through, and the feedback you receive helps you adjust strategies when necessary. The synergy of internal discipline and external support creates powerful momentum. Celebrating small wins also trains your brain to value progress over perfection. Many people abandon goals because they focus solely on end results. Tracking habits and acknowledging incremental victories shifts the focus to continuous improvement. Each completed action becomes a building block rather than a final judgment. This mindset encourages persistence, reduces frustration, and creates an enduring sense of accomplishment. Consistency is amplified through visual feedback. Seeing your progress every day, week, or month reinforces the habits you are cultivating. Each mark, each check, or each note acts as evidence that you are moving forward. This visible chain of actions strengthens self-belief and builds confidence. The habit of reviewing your progress regularly also allows you to course-correct quickly before small lapses turn into larger setbacks. Tracking habits also enhances long-term strategy. When you have a record of what works and what does not, you can make smarter decisions. You begin to understand your peak productivity hours, which environments foster focus, and which actions lead to meaningful results. This awareness allows you to optimize your routines, allocate energy effectively, and invest time in tasks that provide the highest return. It is essential to celebrate deliberately. Small wins are more than a psychological boost. They reinforce the habit loop. Rewarding yourself with a brief pause, A positive affirmation or a small treat strengthens the connection between effort and reward. Over time, these small reinforcements solidify behavior, making the habit easier to maintain even without constant external recognition. By tracking habits and celebrating small wins, you create a feedback loop that accelerates improvement. Action leads to evidence. Evidence reinforces effort, and reinforcement drives consistency. This cycle turns ordinary behavior into extraordinary results. The habits you cultivate with awareness and acknowledgement compound, transforming your productivity, health, learning, and personal growth. Finally, tracking and celebrating instills discipline and pride. You develop the ability to stick to commitments, recognize achievement, and build momentum consistently. The combination of measurement, feedback, and recognition strengthens both your results and your mindset. Over time, what began as small daily actions becomes a powerful engine of transformation. Start today by identifying one habit, recording it consistently, and celebrating each small victory. Choose simple tools that you can use without friction. Mark your progress daily and give yourself credit for every step forward. As you continue, the cumulative effect will be enormous. Tracking habits and celebrating small wins is not just a method, it is a principle of growth that transforms effort into lasting achievement, turning incremental actions into a life of meaningful success. Chapter 16. Challenge limiting beliefs by testing new behaviors consistently. True growth begins the moment you decide to challenge the beliefs that have been holding you back, and consistently test new behaviors that expand your limits. Many people live within invisible cages created by their own assumptions about what is possible, convincing themselves that they are incapable, unworthy, or unable to change. These beliefs are rarely based on absolute truth. They are learned patterns formed from past experiences, fear, or the opinions of others. The first step toward breaking free is to recognize these limiting beliefs for what they are, barriers you have the power to dismantle. Testing new behaviors consistently is the method through which beliefs are transformed. It is one thing to acknowledge a limiting belief mentally, but it is an entirely different experience to act in opposition to it. If you believe you are bad at public speaking, the act of practicing in front of even a small audience provides evidence that your belief may be inaccurate. Each attempt, whether successful or imperfect, chips away at the conviction that you are incapable. Over time, repeated action replaces doubt with confidence and possibility. Change requires courage, because acting against ingrained beliefs often feels uncomfortable or unnatural. Your mind resists new patterns because it prefers familiarity, even when familiar patterns are unproductive. Every time you step outside that comfort zone, you exercise mental and emotional strength. The discomfort is a sign that growth is occurring. Each instance of testing a new behavior reinforces the understanding that fear and hesitation are temporary obstacles rather than permanent limitations. Consistency is critical in this process. One attempt is rarely enough to permanently shift a belief. A single successful experience may plant a seed, but it is repeated, deliberate practice that strengthens new patterns and convinces your mind that the old belief is no longer accurate. By creating small, incremental experiments in your daily life, you accumulate evidence that challenges outdated assumptions. The brain adapts, rewiring itself to recognize new possibilities that were once dismissed as impossible. Tracking your progress helps solidify change. When you note each action you take to challenge a limiting belief, you create a record of proof that you are capable of growth. Writing down experiences, reflecting on results, and identifying patterns reinforces the idea that your abilities are not fixed. This external validation complements internal experience, creating a cycle of evidence and confidence that strengthens over time. Testing new behaviors also reveals hidden potential. Often beliefs limit not only what we attempt, but also what we imagine we are capable of achieving. By deliberately trying something new, you may discover strengths, skills, or resilience you were unaware of. These insights expand the range of what is possible and create opportunities for growth that would otherwise remain untapped. Each new behavior tested is a window into unexplored capacity, building momentum for future achievement. Failure is a necessary component of this process. When challenging limiting beliefs, setbacks are inevitable. Attempting something unfamiliar may result in mistakes, embarrassment, or temporary frustration. These experiences do not prove incompetence. They provide information. Each failure offers insight into how to improve, adapt, and approach the situation differently next time. Embracing failure as feedback rather than judgment transforms resistance into opportunity. Small, consistent actions accumulate into meaningful change. You do not need to completely overturn every limiting belief in one day. Instead, choose a single belief to challenge and design a series of manageable actions that push against it. For example, if you believe you are not creative, commit to creating a small piece of work every day. Over weeks, the repetition and evidence gradually erode the belief that creativity is beyond you. Incremental progress compounds into long-lasting transformation. Reflection strengthens the process. After testing a new behavior, take time to analyze what happened, how you felt, and what you learned. Reflection allows you to identify which actions are most effective and where adjustments are needed. This creates a deliberate, iterative process that ensures each experiment builds knowledge, skill, and confidence. Over time, reflection combined with consistent action reshapes both your abilities and your mindset. Social support amplifies results. Sharing your attempts with trusted individuals creates accountability and encouragement. Others can offer perspectives, advice, or feedback that you may not notice on your own. When you discuss the behaviors you are testing, it reinforces commitment and provides validation for incremental progress. Positive reinforcement from peers or mentors helps reinforce the understanding that growth is achievable and beliefs can be rewritten. Challenging limiting beliefs transforms not only skills and behaviors, but also identity. Each successful action reinforces the idea that you are capable, adaptable, and resilient. Beliefs shape identity, and by replacing old limiting beliefs with evidence-based confidence, you redefine who you are and what you can achieve. You no longer see yourself through the lens of fear or inadequacy, but through the lens of potential and growth. The process is also iterative. Some beliefs may return when stress or uncertainty arises. Revisiting experiments and continuing to test new behaviors ensures that your growth is sustainable. Mastery of mindset is not a one-time thing. It is a lifelong practice of observation, experimentation, and adjustment. By committing to consistent action, you maintain the flexibility to challenge outdated patterns whenever they arise. Testing new behaviors also enhances creativity and problem solving. When you act in ways that contradict your previous assumptions, you expose yourself to new experiences, perspectives, and solutions. Limiting beliefs often narrow thinking. Challenging them expands it. This openness encourages innovation and adaptability, equipping you to handle challenges more effectively and with greater confidence. Each behavior you test reinforces resilience. By repeatedly acting in the face of uncertainty, you develop emotional strength and persistence. You learn that discomfort is temporary, mistakes are learning tools, and effort produces tangible change. This resilience spills over into other areas of life, giving you the confidence to tackle increasingly difficult challenges with a mindset of growth and possibility. Challenging limiting beliefs ultimately builds empowerment. You take control over the narrative of your life, replacing assumptions imposed by past experiences, fear, or external influence with truths proven through action. Every consistent experiment is evidence that you are capable of shaping your reality, making decisions aligned with your goals, and moving beyond what once seemed impossible. Begin by identifying one belief that restricts your progress. Design small, achievable experiments to test it. Take consistent action, track results, reflect and adjust. Celebrate each step forward, even if it is imperfect. Over time, the accumulation of evidence will dissolve doubt and reinforce capability. By systematically challenging limiting beliefs with repeated behaviors, you create a mindset that embraces growth, courage, and opportunity. The power to expand what is possible lies in consistent action. Limiting beliefs are not permanent. They are patterns waiting to be rewritten. Through deliberate experimentation, reflection, and perseverance, you can reshape your thinking, strengthen your confidence, and unlock potential that has remained dormant. Growth is not theoretical. It is demonstrated through repeated action. Testing new behaviors consistently transforms fear into competence, doubt into confidence, and limitation into opportunity. Chapter 17. Invest in learning each month through books and courses. Investing in your learning every month is the single most effective way to ensure continuous growth and stay ahead in life. Knowledge is the foundation upon which all achievement is built, and the more consistently you acquire it, the stronger and more capable you become. The world moves fast, and skills or insights that were valuable last year may no longer be enough today. By dedicating yourself to learning through books and courses on a monthly basis, you create a habit of improvement that compounds over time, expanding your abilities, perspective, and opportunities. Learning requires deliberate action. It is not enough to passively consume information. You must engage with it, reflect on it, and apply it to your life. Each book you read, each course you take, should be chosen with intention, aligned to your goals, interests, or areas that challenge you. Approach learning as a tool to strengthen yourself rather than as a mere pastime. When you treat education as an investment, not an expense, it changes the way you prioritize your time and energy. Consistency matters more than intensity. Committing to a book or a course every month may seem modest, but the regularity creates a momentum that few other actions can match. Over a year, 12 books or courses transform your understanding and skill set significantly. Over 5 years, this habit can completely redefine your life trajectory. Small, repeated investments in learning outperform sporadic bursts of effort because they build steady, compounding growth. Choose learning material that challenges your current thinking. It is easy to read or watch content that simply reinforces what you already know, but growth comes from being stretched. Seek out books that present new perspectives, courses that develop unfamiliar skills, and materials that force you to think critically. Discomfort in learning is a sign that your mind is expanding, stretching into areas previously unexplored. Applying what you learn is essential. Knowledge alone is inert unless it influences action. After completing a book or finishing a course, identify specific lessons to implement in your daily life. Test ideas, adapt strategies, and measure results. The act of application not only reinforces understanding but also creates tangible outcomes from your investment in learning. Without this step, information remains theoretical and fails to transform your capabilities. Tracking your progress helps maintain accountability. Keep a log of books read, courses completed, and insights gained. Reflect on how each month's learning contributes to your larger goals. This record is proof of your ongoing growth and reinforces the habit. Reviewing your progress allows you to adjust your choices, focus on areas that need development, and ensure that every learning activity serves a purpose. Investing in learning also cultivates curiosity. When you dedicate yourself to monthly study, your mind becomes alert for new ideas and solutions in everyday life. You begin to notice opportunities, patterns, and connections that others miss. Continuous learning transforms your perspective, making you more creative, adaptable, and capable of navigating complex situations. Financially, investing in books and courses is a high-return strategy. The cost of knowledge is small compared to the potential benefits in career advancement, business opportunities, and personal development. Treat spending on learning as an investment in your future self. Prioritize it over short-term indulgences, because the skills, insights, and confidence you gain will multiply in value for years to come. Time management is crucial. When committing to monthly learning, designate specific blocks for reading or coursework, and protect them as you would any important meeting. Even 30 minutes a day adds up over a month and ensures consistent progress. Treat these sessions as non-negotiable appointments with yourself. Consistency is the difference between knowledge accumulated and knowledge wasted. Learning in community can amplify results. Joining discussion groups, online forums, or study circles allows you to engage with others, debate ideas, and gain feedback. Sharing insights deepens comprehension and helps cement concepts into memory. Additionally, surrounding yourself with like-minded individuals creates a culture of growth that encourages continued effort and accountability. Reflection enhances understanding. After completing a book or module, take time to summarize key insights, note how they apply to your life, and plan next steps. This process solidifies learning and ensures that knowledge moves from theoretical to practical. Reflection also reveals patterns in your growth, showing where progress is strongest and where more attention is needed. Diversity in learning is important. Explore different subjects, skills, and perspectives. Even if your primary focus is career development, reading about philosophy, psychology, history, or science broadens your thinking and improves problem-solving abilities. A varied learning diet strengthens both creativity and critical thinking, equipping you to handle challenges from multiple angles. Investing in yourself each month fosters discipline. Committing to consistent learning trains your mind to value growth and prioritize development over distraction. The habit of regular study becomes a signal to yourself that progress matters more than comfort or convenience. Discipline built through monthly learning transfers into other areas of life, creating a self-reinforcing cycle of improvement. Setting specific goals for each learning period maximizes results. Decide in advance what book to read or which course to complete. Define what you want to extract from it. Focus on actionable takeaways, practical techniques, or insights that can be implemented immediately. Clear goals ensure that your time and energy are spent effectively rather than being scattered or wasted. Learning consistently also builds confidence. As you accumulate knowledge and skills, you gain a sense of mastery over your environment. Challenges become more manageable because you have tools and insights to address them. Confidence grows naturally when you see the tangible results of your monthly investments in learning. Accountability accelerates progress. Share your learning goals with a mentor, friend, or community, and report on completion. This external commitment reinforces internal motivation and ensures that you follow through. Social accountability provides encouragement, advice, and a sense of responsibility that strengthens the habit and prevents procrastination. Monthly learning reinforces adaptability. The world is constantly changing, and the ability to acquire new skills quickly is essential. By making learning a routine practice, You maintain mental flexibility, keep pace with change, and prepare yourself for opportunities that others may miss. Adaptability becomes a natural outcome of consistent, focused investment in knowledge. The emotional impact of learning should not be underestimated. Gaining new insights, skills, and perspectives increases self-esteem and a sense of accomplishment. Each completed book or course provides a tangible achievement to celebrate, fueling motivation to continue. The emotional reward reinforces the habit and makes growth enjoyable rather than a chore. Ultimately, monthly investment in learning creates momentum. Each month's effort compounds, building skills, expanding understanding, and preparing you for challenges ahead. Over years, this consistent commitment produces results that are far greater than what sporadic or haphazard effort could achieve. You become not only more knowledgeable but more capable, confident, and ready to act decisively in life. Start now by choosing a book or course for the month, committing to consistent engagement, applying what you learn, reflecting on progress, and celebrating every insight gained. Over time, this habit will transform not only your knowledge, but your abilities, mindset, and future. Learning is the most powerful investment you can make, and by committing to it monthly, you ensure that growth becomes a permanent part of who you are. Chapter 18: Reduce commitments to focus on what truly matters. The most powerful step toward real progress is learning to reduce commitments and focus only on what truly matters. Life constantly presents opportunities, requests, and obligations, and most people feel compelled to say yes to almost everything. This habit of overcommitting slowly erodes energy, divides attention, and prevents meaningful progress in areas that genuinely align with goals. By consciously choosing fewer commitments, you free mental space, energy, and time to dedicate to the priorities that will shape your future and create real impact. Clarity about what truly matters is the foundation of focus. Before you can reduce commitments, you must identify the core areas of your life that deserve the most attention. Determine which goals, relationships, or responsibilities are non-negotiable. Anything outside these priorities should be evaluated critically. This process requires honesty and the courage to acknowledge what is unnecessary or distracting. Without clarity, reducing commitments is impossible, because everything appears equally urgent even when it is not. Saying no becomes a powerful tool in this process. Each time you accept a request, you are allocating finite resources of time and energy. Saying yes indiscriminately means that your most important tasks often get postponed or neglected. Learning to decline politely but firmly allows you to protect your focus. This is not selfishness. It is a disciplined investment in outcomes that truly matter. Every commitment you reject frees you to pursue your priorities with intensity and presence. Reducing commitments also prevents burnout. Taking on too much creates constant pressure, stress, and fatigue. When energy is spread thin, even essential tasks suffer from lack of attention and care. By intentionally limiting obligations, you preserve your mental and physical resources. This allows for sustained performance and consistent progress, rather than bursts of activity followed by exhaustion and frustration. Evaluating each commitment critically is key. Ask whether it aligns with your values, contributes meaningfully to your goals, or enhances your growth. If it does not, it should be reconsidered. Many commitments are maintained out of habit, obligation, or fear of disappointing others. Questioning these motivations helps you reclaim control over your schedule and decisions. By filtering out unnecessary tasks, you ensure that your energy is spent on high-value activities. Focus emerges naturally when commitments are reduced. With fewer tasks demanding attention, you can give full concentration to what truly matters. Multitasking often reduces effectiveness, dilutes effort, and decreases satisfaction. When priorities are clear and non-essential tasks are eliminated, you can operate at a higher level of efficiency and produce better outcomes in less time. Focused effort compounds faster than scattered action. Delegation is another method to reduce commitments effectively. Some obligations cannot be eliminated entirely, but can be reassigned to others. Delegating tasks that do not require your personal expertise allows you to focus on what only you can do. Delegation is not weakness. It is strategic use of resources that ensures your energy is spent where it produces the highest return. Reducing commitments also improves decision-making. When your schedule is less cluttered, you have more mental bandwidth to evaluate opportunities critically. Each decision is made with awareness and intention, rather than in reaction to pressure or external demands. This clarity allows you to pursue goals deliberately and prevents distractions from derailing progress. Creating boundaries is essential in maintaining fewer commitments. Communicate clearly with colleagues, family, and friends about your availability and priorities. Establishing limits protects your focus and prevents overextension. Boundaries are not rigid rules meant to isolate you. They are structures that enable you to operate effectively and honor your highest priorities. The power of simplicity in commitments should not be underestimated. Complexity often hides inefficiency. By reducing obligations to what is most impactful, you simplify your life, reduce stress, and create space for creativity and reflection. Simplicity enhances clarity, which in turn strengthens decision-making, execution, and long-term results. Focus on the long-term payoff of reducing commitments. Every unnecessary task you eliminate increases the probability of success in meaningful areas. Over time, small, consistent choices to prioritize what matters compound into significant outcomes. The discipline to reduce commitments today creates freedom and impact tomorrow. Reducing commitments also enhances quality. When fewer obligations demand attention, each remaining task receives deeper thought, care, and effort. Quality improves because focus is undivided and energy is sufficient to execute at a high level. This principle applies to work, personal projects, and relationships alike. Deep engagement produces superior results compared to superficial attention spread across too many fronts. Self-reflection supports this practice. Regularly review all current obligations and assess their value relative to your goals. Ask whether each commitment enhances progress or merely consumes time. Honest reflection ensures that you continually refine your focus and eliminate distractions before they accumulate. A periodic audit of your commitments reinforces discipline and prevents drift into overextension. Reducing commitments encourages intentional living. Instead of reacting to external pressures or expectations, you proactively choose how to spend your time. Each decision is aligned with purpose, creating a sense of control, satisfaction, and direction. Intentional living allows you to invest in growth, meaningful relationships, and accomplishments that resonate deeply, rather than being pulled by obligations that lack significance. Energy management is a natural byproduct of reducing commitments. When obligations are fewer, stress decreases, focus improves, and productivity rises. Energy once drained by trivial or non-essential tasks can now be redirected toward activities that create lasting value. By protecting your mental and physical resources, you ensure sustained capacity for high-impact action. The habit of prioritizing what matters also trains discipline. Saying no consistently, maintaining boundaries, and evaluating obligations requires practice. The more you exercise this habit, the easier it becomes to identify distractions and make intentional choices. Discipline in focus reinforces self-confidence and the ability to follow through on meaningful goals. Reducing commitments strengthens strategic thinking. With fewer distractions, you can plan more effectively, anticipate challenges, and allocate resources where they will have the greatest effect. The ability to act strategically rather than reactively is a hallmark of high achievers and accelerates progress toward meaningful objectives. Finally, reducing commitments creates space for growth, creativity, and reflection. Time is not merely saved, it is transformed into a resource for deliberate improvement. You can invest in skills, ideas, and relationships that shape your future. The fewer obligations you carry, the more freedom you have to create a life aligned with purpose, impact, and personal fulfillment. Begin now by examining your current commitments and identifying those that do not serve your highest priorities. Remove, delegate, or decline them thoughtfully. Protect the space you create, invest your energy where it matters most, and watch how focus, productivity, and fulfillment grow exponentially. Reducing commitments is not about doing less for its own sake. It is about doing more of what truly counts. Chapter 19. Ask for help early and delegate tasks that drain. Success accelerates the moment you recognize the power of asking for help early and delegating tasks that drain your energy. Many people struggle under the weight of responsibilities they attempt to carry alone, believing that asking for assistance is a sign of weakness or incompetence. In reality, seeking support is a strategic choice that multiplies effectiveness and preserves mental and physical resources. Every task you delegate or receive help with is an opportunity to focus on what truly matters and make meaningful progress toward your goals. Recognizing when to ask for help is the first step. Waiting until a problem becomes overwhelming often creates unnecessary stress and limits the quality of your decisions. Early intervention prevents small challenges from escalating into larger obstacles. By acknowledging your limits and requesting assistance at the right time, you maintain control over your workflow and prevent burnout. Seeking guidance or support is not a compromise, it is a proactive strategy to achieve better outcomes faster. Delegation is equally critical. Some tasks drain energy without providing proportional value. These may include administrative work, repetitive duties, or obligations outside your core strengths. Identifying which tasks consume effort without generating significant results allows you to free time for high-impact activities. Delegation empowers others, builds trust, and strengthens teamwork, while enabling you to focus on responsibilities that require your unique skills and attention. Effective delegation requires clarity. When assigning tasks, communicate expectations clearly, define desired outcomes, and set realistic timelines. Ambiguity leads to mistakes, frustration, and wasted effort. Clear instructions ensure that the task is executed efficiently and successfully, freeing you to concentrate on areas that drive the greatest impact. Delegation is a tool for optimization, not abdication of responsibility. Asking for help early also strengthens relationships. People appreciate honesty, transparency, and the opportunity to contribute meaningfully. Reaching out builds trust and fosters collaboration, creating a network of support that can be relied upon in the future. This social reinforcement enhances resilience, reduces isolation, and encourages a culture of mutual growth. Support is a resource, and leveraging it effectively multiplies your capabilities. Avoid the misconception that asking for help diminishes competence. In contrast, recognizing when you need assistance demonstrates self-awareness, strategic thinking, and focus on results. Leaders and high achievers consistently seek guidance, delegate tasks, and leverage the strengths of others to maximize productivity. Adopting this approach accelerates learning, improves outcomes, and reduces unnecessary struggle. Delegation also enables skill development in others. By sharing tasks thoughtfully, you provide opportunities for team members, colleagues, or peers to grow their abilities. Teaching, guiding, and empowering others not only benefits them, but also strengthens your support network. As skills increase across your network, more tasks can be shared, reducing the burden and expanding collective capability. Choosing which tasks to delegate requires assessment. Evaluate each responsibility based on its importance, complexity, and alignment with your core goals. Ask whether your involvement is essential for success or whether someone else can complete it effectively. Focus your personal energy on activities that generate the highest return, while reallocating less critical tasks. Delegation is about maximizing output, not shirking responsibility. Asking for help early also improves decision-making. Collaborating with others brings fresh perspectives, expertise, and alternative solutions. Input from trusted individuals can prevent mistakes, reveal overlooked opportunities, and enhance strategic planning. Relying on collective knowledge strengthens outcomes and builds confidence in complex or unfamiliar situations. Support is a tool to navigate challenges more effectively. Emotional benefits of early help and delegation are significant. Reducing the load prevents stress from overwhelming your focus and energy. Feeling supported decreases anxiety, increases motivation, and fosters a sense of control over your workload. Emotional stability enhances clarity, allowing you to respond to challenges with composure and effectiveness. Implementing this practice requires preparation. Identify trusted individuals capable of handling specific tasks and cultivate strong communication with them. Develop routines for assigning responsibilities and monitoring progress without micromanaging. Regularly review and adjust delegation strategies to ensure effectiveness. Structured systems make delegation seamless and sustainable. Consistency in asking for help and delegating builds efficiency. When practiced habitually, these behaviors become part of a disciplined workflow. Tasks that once felt burdensome become manageable through collaboration, and you gain more time to invest in personal growth, strategic work, or creative endeavors. Habits of support and delegation compound productivity over time. Delegation also reinforces accountability. When responsibilities are shared, progress can be monitored collectively, reducing risk of error or oversight. Collaborative accountability ensures that work meets standards while distributing effort appropriately. Each person understands their role, contributes to outcomes, and supports mutual success. Learning to release control is a crucial aspect of delegation. Many hesitate to delegate because of fear that results will not meet their standards. Trusting others and allowing them to take ownership of tasks is a demonstration of confidence and maturity. Mistakes may occur, but they provide opportunities for feedback, growth, and improvement for both parties. Delegation is a process that benefits everyone involved. Time management improves dramatically when tasks are delegated effectively. Instead of juggling multiple low-value responsibilities, energy is concentrated on high-priority activities that advance goals. Each delegated task creates space for focused work, strategic planning, and proactive problem-solving. The time gained multiplies the impact of your efforts across personal and professional domains. Training others as part of delegation strengthens the system further, providing clear guidance, sharing best practices, and mentoring enhances the quality of outcomes and reduces the need for repeated oversight. As individuals develop competence, more responsibilities can be transferred, creating a sustainable workflow that maximizes productivity and growth potential. The mindset of asking for help early encourages humility and learning. Accepting that you do not have all the answers opens opportunities for growth, collaboration, and innovation. This mindset shifts focus from individual effort to collective achievement, creating a culture where challenges are met efficiently and effectively. Delegation and early assistance are also strategic tools for scaling impact. As responsibilities increase, relying solely on personal effort limits potential. By leveraging help from others, you amplify your capacity, expand influence, and achieve results beyond what one person could accomplish alone. Multiplying effort through collaboration is a hallmark of high achievers. Reflection strengthens this practice. Evaluate the results of delegating tasks and seeking help, identifying successes, challenges, and areas for improvement. Adjust strategies accordingly to ensure maximum efficiency and effectiveness. Continuous refinement ensures that the approach remains aligned with goals and produces optimal outcomes. Start by identifying one task today that drains your energy or distracts from priorities and delegate it immediately. Reach out for support in areas where expertise or assistance would improve results. Make asking for help early a habit rather than a last resort. Over time, this practice will transform how you work, enhance your effectiveness, and free energy to focus on what matters most. By consistently seeking support and delegating wisely, productivity, resilience, and success increase exponentially. Chapter 20. Sustain momentum by scheduling rest, growth, and reflection days. Sustaining momentum in life is not about constant effort alone, but about deliberately scheduling days for rest, growth, and reflection to maintain progress and clarity. Many people believe that continuous action without pause is the key to success, but relentless activity often leads to exhaustion, diminished focus, and mistakes that slow overall progress. Real momentum comes from balancing action with periods of intentional rest, focused learning, and thoughtful evaluation. By strategically planning these days, you preserve energy, strengthen discipline, and create a rhythm that amplifies long-term achievement. Rest is a critical component of sustained momentum. Without it, productivity declines, creativity falters, and motivation diminishes. Scheduling regular rest days allows the mind and body to recover from accumulated stress and strain. This is not indulgence, it is a disciplined investment in maintaining the capacity to perform at your best. Rest days restore focus, improve decision-making, and prevent burnout, which ensures that high-quality work can continue consistently over time. Growth days are equally essential. These are dedicated periods to acquire new skills, knowledge, or insights that enhance your personal and professional development. Engaging in deliberate learning, whether through reading, courses, or mentorship, expands your capabilities and prepares you for future challenges. Growth days prevent stagnation and encourage continuous improvement, keeping you competitive and adaptable in a constantly evolving environment. Reflection days serve to evaluate progress, adjust strategies, and gain perspective. They provide the space to consider what is working, what needs improvement, and which priorities require more attention. Regular reflection ensures that effort is aligned with meaningful objectives, rather than being scattered across tasks that do not contribute to long-term goals. Reflection fosters clarity, sharpens judgment, and reinforces disciplined action. Integrating rest, growth, and reflection into a structured schedule transforms productivity from chaotic effort into intentional progress. By allocating specific days for each, you create a sustainable rhythm that balances action with rejuvenation and insight. This approach prevents overextension while maintaining forward momentum in every area of life. Planning these days requires foresight and commitment. Identify the frequency and duration that suits your lifestyle and responsibilities. For instance, One day per week may be devoted to rest, another to growth, and another to reflection. Adjust the timing and structure to match your energy patterns and obligations. Consistency in scheduling ensures that these practices become habitual rather than optional. Rest days should focus on complete mental and physical recuperation. Disconnect from work, digital distractions, and demanding responsibilities. Engage in activities that recharge your energy, such as physical exercise, sleep, or leisurely pursuits that bring joy without stress. The purpose is to restore vitality so that subsequent days of action are more productive, creative, and effective. Growth days demand active engagement with new knowledge or skill development. Plan structured activities such as reading insightful books, completing focused learning modules, attending workshops, or experimenting with new techniques. Growth days should stretch your capabilities beyond comfort zones, providing tangible benefits that enhance performance and adaptability in daily life. Reflection days require a deliberate pause to review outcomes, analyze successes and failures, and identify areas for improvement. Journaling, evaluating completed tasks, and assessing progress against goals provides clarity and actionable insights. Reflection allows you to recalibrate strategies, eliminate inefficiencies, and reinforce habits that produce measurable results. Balancing these three types of days ensures that momentum is sustainable. Continuous effort without rest leads to decline, learning without application yields minimal impact, and action without reflection prevents improvement. The combination of rest, growth, and reflection creates a self-reinforcing cycle that strengthens both capability and resilience. Scheduling these days also fosters discipline. Intentionally allocating time for rest, learning, and reflection requires planning, commitment, and consistency. Over time, this disciplined approach becomes a habit that automatically supports productivity and personal growth. The structure protects against distraction, impulsive overwork, and aimless activity. Mental clarity improves when this balance is maintained. Rest days reduce cognitive fatigue, growth days expand knowledge and perspective, and reflection days consolidate understanding and insight. Together, they create a mind that is alert, focused, and capable of making strategic decisions under pressure. The emotional benefits are equally significant. Regular rest prevents stress accumulation and burnout. Growth instills confidence through skill acquisition, and reflection provides a sense of accomplishment and direction. This emotional equilibrium reinforces motivation, resilience, and commitment to long-term goals. Momentum is further sustained by adjusting schedules based on results and energy patterns. Not every day will require the same focus or intensity. Periodically reassessing your rhythm ensures that rest, growth, and reflection continue to serve your objectives efficiently. Flexibility within structure allows for optimal performance without compromising long-term consistency. Integrating reflection into daily routines amplifies the effect of these dedicated days. Brief end-of-day reviews, noting key achievements, lessons learned, or improvements to implement, support ongoing awareness and course correction. Micro-reflections complement full reflection days, ensuring alignment and enhancing cumulative growth. Growth days should also include experimentation and application. Learning becomes meaningful only when knowledge is tested and practiced in real-world contexts. Applying insights immediately reinforces understanding, builds competence, and creates measurable progress that contributes directly to goals. Rest days, while focused on recovery, can also include subtle preparatory activities that set up growth and reflection days for success. Gentle planning, organizing priorities, or light study without pressure ensures readiness for productive engagement in subsequent days. Strategic rest is active in maintaining long-term momentum. Scheduling these days consistently prevents the cycle of overwork, frustration, and stalled progress that many encounter. Without intentional spacing of activity, energy is depleted, decisions become reactive, and improvement slows. A well-structured schedule ensures each day has purpose and contributes to overall growth rather than being lost to fatigue or distraction. Creating a calendar or tracking system reinforces accountability. Recording rest, growth, and reflection days ensures they are not skipped or neglected under the pressure of urgent but less meaningful tasks. Visualization of commitment strengthens resolve and highlights progress, further motivating consistent adherence to the practice. Sustaining momentum through this strategy also strengthens focus. With predictable cycles, the mind learns to prepare for active effort, knowledge acquisition, or introspection, enhancing the quality of engagement. Anticipation and readiness maximize effectiveness across all activities. Over time, the compound effect of scheduled rest, growth, and reflection produces extraordinary results. Energy, knowledge, insight, and emotional balance multiply, creating a state of high performance that is both sustainable and resilient. The rhythm ensures continuous improvement while protecting against common pitfalls of overwork and burnout. Begin by identifying 1 week and clearly marking rest, growth, and reflection days. Commit to these allocations, protect them from interruptions, and treat them as essential appointments with yourself. Evaluate outcomes weekly, adjust where necessary, and gradually expand the practice into a long-term habit. Consistently implementing this strategy transforms productivity, clarity, and personal development into a sustainable, self-reinforcing system that maintains momentum over a lifetime.